Here we go. When the green light comes on, I'll hit the first clip.
You are watching CoCoTALK, the world's leading weekly video podcast, featuring a Tandy color computer. We spread the love to the past, present, and future for all models, including the original color computer, the Coco 3, and the world-renowned exclusive French-Canadian Coco 2.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer. Streaming live on YouTube and Roku, available as a podcast and enjoyed the world over. And now, here's your host.
Welcome to CoCoTALK, everybody. I'm your announcer, Rob Inman. How's everyone doing?
Hey,
Rob. Doing fine.
Hello,
Fantastic.
Ron Delvaux,
Yes.
what's going on?
Lots of nothing. Been posting things like usual to my little cubby holes. Show us your Tandy Coco and what else? My Ron's garage. I have some things in there that are interesting to look at. Other than that, just kind of living life, taking care of my mom. My wife was sick for 3 weeks. Had a terrible cold. Other than that, that's about it.
Excellent. Well, wife doing better now?
Yeah. Much better. Back to work Friday, which is good. Yep.
L. Curtis Boyle, the creator and updater of Ease of Use.
Well, one of. Bill Noble's helping a lot with that too. So.
The only person working currently on Ease of Use.
The only person pretending to work on.
There is no one else involved in Ease of Use except L. Curtis Boyle.
I'm just going to make it more difficult for everybody. We're going to have the non-ease of use version soon.
One of
It's
many.
a shame. It's a sham.
How is your hot water heater, and how is your CoCoTALK, Coco Fest planning going?
The heater seems to be doing a bit better today. I shut the water off for a while. I did a drain out of the drain valve in the bottom, and it, I'm hoping what has happened is that some of the grit and crap inside it got lodged onto the overflow valve and kind of locked it open is what caused it to do it. So now it has definitely slowed down a lot to the point of dripping, and I did some research on the web, and it sounds like if that's something like that happens, sometimes it takes a couple of days for it to completely stop. So I'm going to see if that happens, which would let me avoid having to replace the whole darn thing. So I'm crossing my fingers on that.
That is awesome.
And that directly affects the ability to go to the fest. So that's just crossing the fingers on my other hand now for that reason.
So how old is that heater?
I don't even remember off the top of my head. It's over a decade. For sure. Maybe 2 decades. I can't even remember now.
It may be getting time.
Yeah, it might be. And the water here is notorious for having a lot of calcium build up too. So, and I haven't always remembered to drain it every year.
Do some of you guys rent them out that way?
Pardon me?
Or do some of you guys rent them that way? Some people rent their water tank, hot water heaters.
I don't even know if that's an option up here.
Yeah, I'm in Ontario. I don't know if that's an Ontario thing or...
I do know we have insurance now that'll cover it, but the insurance deductible is $1,000, and a water heater is usually less than that. So unless the labor is really incredibly high, it wouldn't save me too much.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense.
Now, this is a Canadian water heater, so did it apologize to you?
No.
I'm sorry.
It might have been made in the States. It's just been giving me the finger the whole time. But
Yeah, might have been.
It's because we got to put French on everything.
Yeah. No, I'll keep you guys posted, but it's looking better than it did yesterday. So hopefully it keeps going in that direction.
Excellent. And our resident Apple guru, Mark D. Overholzer.
Hey there. I'm here.
doing?
I'm awake. Nothing really to report. Hoping, probably I'm going to Coco Fest. I've got my tickets.
All right. Brian Weisler,
Yes, sir.
what have you been up to?
Oh, well, actually, lately I've been traveling for work. I've been actually out of town most of the last 10 days. So, but just been kind of mostly working and doing a few things here and there. I did get to meet Mr. Retro Innovations himself.
Oh, wow. Jim Brain?
Yep. I was.
Did he troll you?
No, actually, I trolled him. I was for traveling for work, I was gonna be right in his backyard, and so I dropped him a note and said, "Hey, do you want to meet for lunch?" And so we met for lunch and sat down for about an hour and a half and chatted about a lot of things. Of course, a lot of it being around the color computer and retro, and a little bit of the future, and where we see things going. And it was a nice conversation. Got to know him a little bit more personally, so it was nice.
And did he convince you to part with any of your money for all of his awesome projects, or?
Actually, I did place an order on his website, and I got personal hand delivery. So
there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So bought a couple connectors and one of his adapter extender cards that you can extend out through the ROM port there. So I wanted to get one of those, and so I picked up one of those, and something too. I'm not sure what if you want me to share it now or not, but I did pick up myself up a new monitor for a free price, so it was kind of nice. I was gonna kind of show that one.
I have well, real quick statement and a quick question for you, Brian Weisler. But all right, so for you guys who are using the Restream chat to say hi to people, stop. Like 4 times now for each person you say hi, Rob, hi, Rob, hi, Rob, hi, Rob. So reserve that for like posting a link or something like that. And my question to you, Brian Weisler, you have met the 8-bit guy, and you've met Jim Brain. So which was a more amazing experience for you?
So you put me on the spot here and stuff like that.
And don't worry that Jim's in the chat. Just go right ahead and say the honest truth. So.
No, actually, they're both very interesting. I mean, obviously, the 8-bit guy there. I mean, he has a really a broad spectrum, but he's also Commodore, just like Mr. Jim Brain is. He kind of leans a little more that direction. But one's talking about the past and sharing information about the past, where Jim he's excited about the future. He still thinks we've got a good solid 10-15 years of this wave.
Well, in that case, Brian, please don't read his comment in the YouTube chat.
It says, don't tell Brian it was agonizing to fill an hour and a half talking to him.
At least he didn't say something like I had something in between my teeth or something like that the whole time while I was eating or something like that. So, but no, I did get myself a monitor. We've been talking about those Dell monitors, the 2007s. Yeah. Actually, at one of my offices, it was on the disposal pile, and it's like this isn't going anywhere except for my house. It's over here. It's actually a Dell 2408. Wow. It's a 24-inch version of that same monitor. What's kind of cool about it is it has picture-in-picture capabilities. And so you can see there on my screen, I got Zaxxon going, and actually I got through the VGA port, through the switcheroo, I got one, and then the other is composite side by side. But you could have a couple different input. It has HDMI, it has DVI ports, display port on it, VGA, and all of them, the whole kit and caboodle. So yeah, I was hooking that up. It was kind of fun to kind of been playing with that a little bit, but. When you switch it over to just when you turn the display port off, come on, where are we at here? There it is. You get a nice big picture on it though, on a 24-inch.
That's awesome.
And the colors come through nice and everything. I really like it. So
yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. So the price was right on that one. So
yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I've been kind of traveling. I wasn't able to join last week. I was on through the Facebook. I was kind of listening to it while I was working. I worked all weekend long, so I didn't get a chance to hop on. But nope, been busy. But all's good. I do have a few things that I picked up, but I'll share those next week.
Well, last week you missed the new CoCoTALK theme song, and the creator and inventor and writer and performer and producer of that excellent song is here today. Bruce Moore. We have heard a rumor that CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, and we want to know if it's true.
Keeping the Tandy flame alive. Kind of cool, sorry. Yeah, still is as far as I know. Yeah, it's all good. I every once in a while I think about writing a verse for that. You know, for that song. I'm not sure how many people I would insult with it though.
Well, just don't mention that Tandy Flame lives in a dumpster.
Oh. Maybe there could be multiple versions. Maybe there could be the public version and the private version or something.
Yeah, they could do the holiday theme versions later. And
oh yeah.
The grievances version.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Just start listing all the grievances.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
Yeah, I just have that in there once in a while.
Well, it is a catchy tune. I will tell you that.
Well, thank you. I'm I don't know if anybody noticed in Discord there, but I was asking some C questions the last couple of days. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there, but I'm thinking about trying some C programming on the Coco, and there's the CMOC and all that is looking pretty cool.
Neat.
Yeah, there's a few people that use that. I know Brendan Donahue uses it quite a bit, even for his Coco VGA stuff. So
yeah.
Used to love C.
And of course,
That's
Paris
it for me.
Surratt, I think all that stuff, a lot of that was some C wrappers around it too.
Yep.
Cool stuff.
Well, Down Under and Upside Down and In the Future, Nick Marentes, author of Funstar and Rockstar Pilot on OS9 ROM cartridge, Nick Marentes.
You got the wrong guy. That's Nick Marionetti. I just like breaking things. Oh no, hang on, that's David Ladd, isn't it?
I think you're having an identity crisis, Nick.
Yeah,
Thank
nothing.
you. You're too kind.
That's it. Yeah, no, nothing new. Just plugging along. Yeah, nothing to report.
All right. Well, Mr. James Diffendaver always has a train to report, either coming or going. James.
No trains today. The flooding wiped out the main line, so I've got a quiet time today.
Wow. Very
Just
nice.
sitting here digesting my lunch because you guys started this at lunch my time. No projects.
Cool. Will you have time to help us unravel the basic ROMs today by any chance?
I think they're beyond help.
And the man with the ukulele who drives all of the musical genius on the show, Nick Marotta.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Hello. How are you?
Not was that what I was originally going to say.
Oh, okay.
But, I fixed it.
I like to think I can play okay, but I'm no D Bruce more, that's for sure.
You don't hear me play ukulele.
Yeah. Well, I kind of came to that realization last night that at least 3 of the Canadians we have on here all are extremely musically talented. You know, like Bruce Moore, we've got Curtis Boyle and Nick Marotta. So there's something in the water in Canada.
It's our hot water heaters.
Yeah, it's either that or the vodka. That's one of the two.
Yeah.
Winters are long and cold.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing else to do but play our instruments indoors.
That's right.
And last but not least, a man who once told his daughter to give that cat some damn water.
Well, I'm definitely least, but I'm not last. There's somebody on the bottom of the screen you haven't gotten to yet either.
I got through everyone.
What about MarcB, who's streaming the show for us today?
Okay.
but don't forget Mark. So we'll save the best for last.
MarcB.
Yeah. So
executive producer in the booth.
Well, in the booth anyway.
MarcB. Forget Stevie Stroh. Who needs him?
Don't upset Mark. If he pulls a plug, we're all gone.
Yep. That's right.
Just one click away.
MarcB, how's it looking in the booth?
Looking fine. That was this week's big project, was getting all this set up, and of course,
I'm getting your voice back.
Yeah, a little bit better today. Cold all week, and lost my voice totally yesterday. So that was fun. A little bit better today. Hopefully it'll last through the whole show. So, yeah, that's what's going on.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You're too kind. So thank you, and thank to Rob Inman and Tom C. and Grant Leedy, who's done it in the past, and to Richard Lorbieski, who's offered, and hopefully maybe he'll have time at some point where we can get with him. Brian Weasler has offered, so we'll try to get Brian Weasler set up next, and then we have Terry Steggy, who has also offered. But what we're trying to achieve here is having more than one person who can stream the show. We've only missed one episode in 2 years and 100 episodes, so that's not a bad track record, but it's just nice to know we've got some redundant infrastructure. And
well, we got redundancy, that's for sure.
yeah. The hardest piece.
You can say that again.
Yes. Well, can you say it again, Bruce?
Redundancy.
Yes.
Redundancy.
So the most critical component is being able to actually stream the show. So we need somebody who can stream it. And other than that, the show kind of runs itself. You know, there's enough talking heads that we can sit here and generate some hot air, but we need somebody to be able to push that button.
So it takes no talent, is what you're saying.
Yes.
No talent required.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys did a hell of a job last week, honestly. So I enjoyed listening to the show, and there was good conversations, good stuff going on, and yeah, good stuff. So thank all of you guys for doing that last week, and thank you to Mark B today for doing this, and everybody who's helping carry the torch and keep the Tandy flame alive.
Did you want to mention some of the underlying changes too?
I mean, like we're going to OBS.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You know, just to keep people kind of up to date what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I guess we could do that. Yeah, I mean, so in the past, I've used some software called XSplit, letter X hyphen split, which is a paid program. It's a commercial version of OBS, which is open source and free. And I just used, and the irony of it is that when I first started my YouTube stuff, I looked at OBS and I couldn't figure out how to use it. It was just my head exploded trying to figure it out. But XSplit just seemed a little bit easier and more user-friendly to get off the ground. So I started with XSplit, and I've been using XSplit for 4 years now. Now that I've looked at OBS, it's not really much different than XSplit, but for whatever reason, my mind was able to understand XSplit a little easier 4 years ago. So maybe OBS has gotten better too. But way back in the day, OBS is what I used. But OBS costs money. OBS has had some issues, like when they've done some updates, and that update.
XSplit costs money and has issues.
I mean, yeah, XSplit costs money. What I have been using costs money. XSplit, and a couple of shows ago, it had updated and screwed everything up. So, we actually had a delay getting things off because right before we went live, everything was screwed up, and I had to, futz with it. So I'm hoping now, the good news is it's because people are helping to stream. I don't want everybody to have to buy this software. Like Grant, when he did it, he actually bought a license to do it, which was nice of him to do. Grant was going to be our original backup streamer. His life got busy. So Tom C was our first person we set up on OBS. Tom C did a couple of ones from Jersey, and Tom is helping get other people set up because my work schedule's been so crazy. But yeah, we're moving over to OBS. And the nice thing will be is once we've kind of figured out all these growing pains, we should be able to save all these configurations and export them, and other people can pick them up and hopefully hit the ground running with less learning curves as we kind of figure it all out,
Yeah, and one thing I noticed yesterday from the testing on when we were doing the test stream is that the video quality on things like Facebook seems to be much better. I don't know if that's just Mark's connection or if it's OBS or a combination of the two, but it definitely looked clearer and crisper. You can read all the chat really easy, and even small text was showing up on the screen a lot better than before. So it seems to be an improvement in quality, actually. Well, except for the content of the show, but as far as the streaming quality goes.
Yeah.
We can't do everything in one day.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I would agree with you. I noticed that last night too. The Facebook stream, particularly as I'm watching it live, is like pristinely clear and sharp. Salvador Garcia says, the panel has so much to say and share that if that energy was harnessed, it could power a small city. Yeah.
Ken says, you down with OBS?
You down with OBS? Yeah, you know me. Yeah. So Mark O, if you guys, for those of you who have the Restream IO chat client open, on the bottom of that you'll see a number of combined viewers. There's a little eyeball icon with a number. So if you're trying to see how many viewers we have between YouTube and Facebook, you'll see that aggregate total there.
Oh, I think I see here on Facebook now too. So gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, that's some of the changes in progress right now. Is we're trying to get more people able to have the show. Well, we changed the time again too. All right. We're at 2 p.m. again. We did it last week just because I don't remember why. There was a reason. I forgot. Why did we change the time last week? I don't remember.
It's usually due to real life in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And everybody voted it that way.
Yeah, so we've had some discussions. And by the way, for those of you watching, if you would like to be part of these discussions, we have a channel on Discord that's called CoCoTALK Lobby, and this is kind of where we throw things out there and get some kind of consensus. And we also have a channel in there for news suggestions. So if anybody comes across something they want us to report on in an upcoming episode, we've kind of opened that up where we can crowdsource news and people can just throw out links to things, and we'll try to pull those up. So we're trying to use Discord as the behind the scenes platform to communicate and plan throughout the week. For those who are interested in maybe being a fly on the wall or maybe helping to contribute either, behind the scenes or on the panel or whatever else you guys want to do.
You too can have no update by coming on Zoom.
Nothing to report here, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Is that a good little introduction around the room? Did we miss anybody? We got everybody? We got James. We got D. Bruce with no camera. Good.
Stevie Stroh, the man who hears everything. He'll accuse you of wiping your ass with sandpaper.
Save that for the after show.
Yeah, save that for after dark. Yeah.
Oh.
Bleep.
Redacted.
Yeah.
All right.
This awkward silence is just killing me.
We're waiting for you.
Oh, you're waiting
Next
for me? I'm
section.
not hosting the show.
What's the next section?
I've finished my update.
Yeah.
Over and out.
Stevie.
What?
Oh, Curtis.
I have a question.
Yes, Nick.
Yes.
So I've been eyeing a Coco 2 here in Ottawa, and I am wondering, I've heard a Coco 2, and I have heard about the, because it's so old, and I'm assuming the capacitors haven't been changed. Is that going to be an issue that I need to worry about?
Maybe.
They probably should be changed.
Is that something? So assuming that I'm not really good at that kind of thing, is that something that I could find someone who would do?
Get Curtis to help you.
Yeah,
Because
if you want,
Canada's so small.
if you want a coating of hair on the capacitors, then yeah, get me to help.
Yeah.
I gotta be one of you guys. I mean, like, is that something like, I don't know, like someone with electronics experience could do? Like, if I...
Well, I think both Jim Brain and Richard Lubieski of Boysen both offer that service, but you obviously have
So
to
does Cloud9.
Cloud9 as well, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
But I'd have to ship, which is kind of a pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you going to? You're not going to the fest, are you, Nick?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because you could also get it done in person there too. So, to be honest, I mean, I've still got Coco ones that don't have issues with the capacitors. I think sometimes they do end up leaking and stuff, but not all of them. So you might be fine.
Because the guy says it works, and so I'm not worried that it's not going to work. I'm just worried that do I need to do something to keep it working?
Well,
When you
sometimes-
get it, maybe bring it on the show, and we'll have some of the hardware guys take a look at the capacitors and see if it looks like them are bulging and stuff that are ready to go, and see if there's
Also, the
potential of
video
an issue
quality.
quickly, or just it looks like they're fine for now and just let it go.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay, that's really great. Thank you.
You might also find somebody there close to you that works on them. I don't know if Reichfeld does. I know he works on his own stuff. I don't know if he works on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And he's in Niagara or something? I can't even remember now.
No, that's
What's Neil?
Neil.
Neil,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
Neil-
he's. Where is he?
Neil,
He's.
does Neil do hardware stuff?
I don't know if he does classic hardware stuff. You could ask him.
Because I'm close to Niagara, relatively. I grew up in Niagara, actually. Huh.
Must have been awful wet.
It was only behind the falls.
Yeah, that little carving out there where you go behind. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Where are you in Canada? Nick?
I'm in the nation's capital of Ottawa right now.
It doesn't sound very far from Chicago.
I think
Neil
Reichfeld might be there.
I think Neil Blanchard does some hardware because he works on stuff for John Linville. He's worked on the joystick adapters and he assembles the ROM packs and things. So I think Neil does have some.
Yeah, he's the cheap Canadian labor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'll hit him up. Well, first I'll have you guys look at it, like you said, and if you see it needs any work, maybe I'll see if Neil can knows anybody or.
Yeah, and just,
you may not need it at all. I mean, your capacitors may be fine.
Right. Yeah. If he says they work, then if he says it's working, then it is working now, so it's going to work.
Yeah, I'm just worried that like if something happens, like if they bulge and explode or whatever happens to them, I have no idea.
Yeah, they usually bulge.
Bulging and exploding is reserved for after dark.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the monitors I have are dumpster rescues that all they needed was capacitor changes to get them working again. Like this
Stevie, I see we have a guest in the chat too. Retro Arcade Gaming, which is the guy we both talked to you about is some of his.
Yeah, we came across his video. Is that in the news to cover this week too?
Yes, it is.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, Retro Arcade Gaming. We're going to show off at least one of them. You're going to show off the Joust one and post a link to that, right?
I've got both in the queue, so I mean,
okay.
yeah, we can do both.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon says that Henry Reichfeld is in Brantford, Ontario.
Yeah, so Nick, you had several options, but you may not need to even worry about it. We'll just have to see what your Coco looks like when you get it in.
Okay. Retro Arcade Gaming suggesting I learn to solder. It's not that hard to do it.
Hey, just don't take a page from the Curtis Boyle soldering cookbook.
Yeah, don't.
Definitely.
Please don't.
Yeah, Bill Noble at the very least, or
yeah.
That's why I let Bill do all my soldering. It's after that one incident.
Well, it was. He did have the mullet.
Oh, it had nothing to do with the mullet. It's just that's my soldering skills. I mean, like I didn't solder my finger to my forehead.
I am going to post. I'm going to post the Zoom link just in the YouTube chat, and I'll do it for you guys, so don't worry about it. In case Retro Arcade Gaming would like to join us, I will post the link to join us on Zoom.
Yeah, if you can post him the information for Discord too, that'd be kind of neat to have him in there as well.
Yep.
Also, a shout out to Alexander Wallace in the chat. He said he hasn't been here in quite a while, so.
I believe Alexander Wallace is in Mexico, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Viva la Mexico.
As we get more and more international
representation. Yeah, the wall has not been built yet, so he can still watch us, thankfully. So.
The firewall.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the Wi-Fi blocking wall goes up, that's the end of that.
Well, since they're making it out of iron, is that making it an iron curtain?
Yes. All right. So we've covered everybody in the panel right now. So far, everybody, we've seen what you've been up to this week. Did anybody? I believe Brian Weasler. Did you say you had you had something to update us?
I did have a couple things that I picked up, but I'll have to grab them real quick if you want.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'll do a quick update. I'll show you guys. I'll just move my camera around. My project this past couple of days has been redoing my office, which has been a shite hole forever. But so right now you can see like a lot of space behind me. You can see floor, which is pretty impressive. You can see some wall space. Yeah. So I still have this side here that has not been reorged, but the back of the office now is fairly empty. I've got a new desk down here, which is kind of hard to see. I got my new 3-screen setup.
So you moved stuff, but did you vacuum?
Yes, vacuumed. Yeah, we vacuumed. Absolutely.
What size are your monitors there?
They're all.
Size matters.
Yes, they're all around 24.
Okay.
I think 2 of them are at least 24. The one on the right might be 22. I'm not sure, but eventually I'll have all 3 monitors the same because when they're not perfectly lined up, it bothers me to look at them. So, and that's the problem right now. I've got 3 different monitors at 3 different elevations, and so my eyes are like doing a wave.
Yeah, and the mice
OCD
do
is
weird
screaming.
things too.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a 3-monitor arm?
What was the question?
Are you looking for a 3-monitor arm?
I have it. I already have. I bought the arm. I have a brand new arm. I have one brand new monitor, and I have 2 of my pre-existing monitors
Very
that
good.
will eventually get phased into complete uniform wraparound experience. So.
Oh, and Alexander Wallace confirmed, yes, he is in Mexico.
All right.
But which country in Mexico?
Yeah, which of the 3 Mexicos are you referring
Mexico.
to here?
So what did you get, Brian Weasler? What are your pickups?
Oh, just a couple little items here. This one here is, I believe, out on the archive though. But anyway, it's kind of a neat little book there. It's the Color Computer Secrets Revealed.
Ooh.
Oh, they're the secrets no longer.
Yes. So, but yeah, it's just kind of a nice little book there. It gives some different examples and some of the specs about the machine and how some of the things work. So,
Who made that one? I'm not familiar with that one.
this one here was Disk and Data. Let's see here. I don't know if that comes through okay there or not, but Disk and Data there.
Oh, from
so-
BC too. Okay, another Canadian.
Yep, it was a Canadian. Yep. So I thought I'd seen it out there, but maybe not. But this one would be an easy one to scan though. And then also too, I know we've talked about this, but I picked up a couple of these. The WizKids.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
TR
yeah.
City WizKids.
Yeah, so got a couple different. I think I got about 5 different ones of them. I'm not sure how many there were or how many years that they did this.
Yeah, because they were inserts in DC Comics for a while. I think
were
before
they?
they brought their own ones. Yeah, I have a few of
This
those.
was kind of a little 3-pack one that I picked up that someone had these 3 together. So, but they're kind of neat to kind of thumb through. Just kind of a more of the nostalgic side of it, but haven't really sat down and read them all. But it's just kind of interesting to kind of see them.
Yeah,
So,
some of them actually had Cocos in them too, which was nice too.
so yeah, so that's just a couple items there that I grabbed there. So yeah.
So I know you probably said this before, Brian, but I forgot how you explained it. That picture-in-picture right now on that monitor, we've got 2 screens. One of them is composite. What's the other one?
The other one is I didn't happen to have an HDMI cable, so it's going through the switcheroo off the RGB.
Okay.
And then I just have a HDMI to VGA adapter right now.
Okay.
So I just need to grab myself up a $3 HDMI cable, and then I can go right off the little box on the switcheroo, and then connect it in. But right now, yeah, the one side is VGA, and the other one's straight off the composite input.
Okay.
Off the CoCo. I just got a little Y splitter on it, so I can drive both of them.
I think that monitor will also take the VGA directly. I think it'll do 15 kilohertz.
Oh, okay.
So you can get like a CoCo RGB to VGA adapter cable, and I think Cloud9 has those.
You don't need all that. Yeah, I think it will take it.
Okay.
I've got one of those monitors, but I haven't hooked up the VGA to it. It's on my PC.
And now my OCD is showing because you got to reverse the artifact colors for Zaxxon. But anyway.
The ground.
What
is
model
supposed
is
to
that
be
again?
blue.
What model monitor was that?
It's the 24. Let me grab it here. I think it's a 2048. Make sure I get the right one. I don't want to get the wrong information out here. Grab it here. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, it's the Dell 2408. Sorry.
All right, 24-inch, right?
Yep, it's 2408, and there is a couple other numbers that are after it. It's WFPB, and I think that the PB is the key thing, because there are some models that I was looking at, and they don't have all the inputs, nor do they have the picture-in-picture. So, and also too, there's versions that are 20-inch, and also, there's a 20-inch version of it as well that's out there.
That's a 2007. Yeah.
Yep.
You should tell people that's your 3D mod, because it looks like
Yes.
Well, you can kind of see you can see a little different in the colors there too. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
One's a little more red, and the other one's orange.
Yeah, the one on the right looks like a little bit faded, like a little water washed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't quite look 3D. I'm trying it right now. It's close, but not
you have
quite.
to shift them a little bit. You have to shift each one a little bit. One to the left.
Oh,
one.
and you can cycle through, huh?
Yep.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, and it's got the sound bar that mounts underneath it too.
Yep, I got the sound bar. This is the composite on this side, and this is the VG or the VGA.
Oh,
I got the you got the little sound bar on the bottom of it, so
yeah,
you can see how it kind of compares. Here's the one that you've been talking about.
Okay, yeah.
But then this one's more square, so
Right.
it fits really nice. The 4x3 there, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah. I gotta say that little desk right behind you is a pretty nice little presentation there, Brian. You got two CoCos side by side with multi-packs. You got the silver multi-pack setup, the white multi-pack setup.
Yeah.
Nice shelves above it there. That's a Coco cornucopia heaven right there, brother.
Yeah, and he's got
Yep.
like 3 game controllers. Well, 4 if you count the one under the table.
Got
He's
the Wyco
stock
trackball on there.
And
You
it's
guys
the
have that?
original silver handle version, not the black plastic
Yeah.
one. He's got a
Yeah.
deluxe and he's got a Wyco trackball. So yeah.
Yeah, I got that
Yep.
one, and I also got
All
my other
period accurate.
other stuff up there too. I got my the different the color mouse, the deluxe color mouse, and also the joystick.
Yeah. Actually,
then-
all your colors are wrong because Canyon Climber is supposed to be on a red background because it's like, and then your
that's
Zaxxon is reversed too.
That's just an old TV that I got there that's kind of plugged into that one. But yeah, I am looking at the VGA mods there. I've been trying to decide which way I want to go with that. So, with the Coco VGA. So, did you guys notice there that he posted there? He must have 3D printed a little box. So if you don't want to drill holes now in the back of your Coco, you can just run that flat ribbon cable out.
Yeah.
And put it in a little box. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
pigtail.
I it's on my wish list to get. And I'm glad that I've waited this long because it seems like there's a few updates to it. That little mode switcher external switch is nice. And the fact that we might have the double speed mode worked out with the SAM and the DRAM and stuff like that. So I think the Coco VGA is probably, I might hold off a little bit longer just to get the mega Coco VGA set up,
Yeah, there's a lot of graphic stuff going on right now, and even like Ed Snyder has been posting some stuff about the Gimme X that he's working on. So lots around the corner.
Absolutely.
And I guess we got a couple more guests have showed up too. Rick Adams and Paul Shoemaker. So welcome to both of you.
Hello.
And hi, Paul. He's apparently still getting his mic set up, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul Shoemaker's game. Paul, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. Hey, Rick Adams here. Paul's here. Hey, you.
Okay.
I just finished listening to the latest Coco Crew podcast, and Dungeon Crawl was mentioned.
Yeah, Neil did a very nice review of that. I very much appreciated it.
Yes, Neil does a great job. Welcome to the program, Paul. Welcome, Rick Adams.
Thank you.
And Rick, are you finally snow free again, or you still got some snow?
No, I still got some snow.
Totally bone dry here, and I'm further north than you. So.
Right. Yep. There were some storms and windstorms and stuff in Texas that picked up a bunch of dirt, brown Texas dirt, and when it snowed here, there was a layer that was tinted brown.
Oh, wow.
And it took all the dirt that blew up into the air in Texas came down here.
Wow.
So everybody here was trying to figure out, why is the snow brown? Other than, we don't own any dogs, so
Mm-hmm.
the obvious reason is
Don't
not
eat brown snow.
I already knew about don't eat the yellow snow. Now we have to worry about don't eating the brown snow too.
Yeah.
You're standing on Texas soil.
Are you sure that's Texas dust and just not, effluence from our show?
It's the smoke from the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I showed a picture. I showed a picture of our snow to a friend of mine in Finland. And he says, that's what we call. And then he gave me like this long, complicated Finnish word. And he says, what it means is rear winter.
Rear winter, huh?
Yes. I don't know which rear they're talking about there. There's a number of possibilities. I know. That's what she said. Yeah.
Well, if the dirt came from Texas, you could guess which rear it was.
Yeah. Texas steers and, well, never mind.
Yes.
Opinions expressed by...
Are not necessarily those.
So, Rick, do you have any updates on your stuff, or you've been busy dealing with shoveling snow and stuff these days?
I've been dealing with shoveling snow, and also I have a job I'm doing for a friend of mine that owns a business. He's got like 3 very large flat screens in his store, and he wants to do a Raspberry Pi driven set of slideshows and temperature and weather display for those and stuff like that. So I'm working on that.
Okay. And Paul, how's the reaction been to your game so far? Now that Neil's reviewed, have you made a lot of sales again since that happened, or?
You know, it didn't pick up any more sales, and I tapped out at 48, like maybe a month ago, which was more than I thought. Yeah, it was probably double at least what I thought I would sell. But I hope maybe to have some renewed interest, because I went and bought a whole bunch of new floppies or additional floppies.
Excellent.
Anybody wanted to get the floppies?
I'll order one late in fall where once my finances are back to normal. So.
Oh, cool.
No, hey, do me a favor. Just order one for Christmas for Curtis and bill me for it. I got you, Curtis. This one's on me. What was I going to ask you, Paul? Paul Shoemaker, are you coming to Coco Fest?
No, the one May 4th and 5th.
Yes, May the 4th be with you.
I would love to, but unfortunately, it's just not in the cards this time around. Maybe next time.
Yeah, next year's the big one because that's the 40th anniversary of the Coco One. So.
Oh, got to do that.
So excuse my ignorance, but what is it that we're talking about that Paul has done?
So about a month ago, I guess, maybe a month and a half ago, I started selling a game that's a mix of basic and with some assembly language subroutines called Dungeon Crawl, which is kind of a subtle reimagining of a game called Telengard, or what was also called D&D back in the day.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Mark, I think, was just holding up the
on the floppy disk
case there. If you want to zoom the screen up on him.
Printed manuals, floppy disks, the whole 9 yards.
Well,
that's it.
I can't do anything with a floppy disk, I'll tell you.
Yeah. You can also get a digital disc. You get the digital package too if you order.
Absolutely.
The cattail does not come with it. But those are actual graphic screenshots there, though, on the cover there. So
I will have to hunt that down.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it comes on 2 floppies, and so just you're doing an interesting model there, Paul Shoemaker, and I think Tim Paul Thayer did a similar thing too with Timberman. So there was different ways to purchase it. You could buy a physical copy and get the digital download. You could get just the digital version. So multiple purchase options and distribution options. And the diehard collectors are going to want to have the tangible, like the printed manuals and the floppy disk. And that's me. I'm going to buy whenever there's a physical option. I'm going to choose that for me. Not only because I want to collect it, but I want to support people who are making things for our machines. As Mark Overholzer just 2 thumbs up there too. But yeah, I'm always going to want to buy a cartridge. I'm always going to want to buy a floppy or a book in the case of Force of Doom or whatever the case may be. So what was the percentages of physical versus tangible, or physical versus virtual?
It was actually about 50-50.
Okay.
Which I also found surprising. I figured most folks would go for the digital download just because it was easy and quick, and very few people are actually using the floppies.
And I think Nick did that with his Popstar. I mean, he did floppy, and he also had his CD, DVD version type thing.
Want the swag?
Yeah.
Want the swag?
I figured people. I was pleasantly surprised at how many people wanted the swag, for sure. And I even sold a couple on DVDs when folks asked me for a physical copy, but I had run out of floppies. I had a stack of DVDs, so I burned, I think, a couple of DVDs folks got as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Have you reposted to Facebook or wherever that, hey, more floppies will be available for those who were interested?
I didn't. I thought about that, but I was sort of thinking everybody who wanted one has probably got
do
one.
it again.
No, there's new people joining the Facebook group all the time, so there's potentially new customers there. So
right.
Don't know anything about it.
There might be some who bought the digital who would wanted a physical and it wasn't available, so you just never know.
Could be. Yep. Yeah. I'll do that. One of the other things that I was posting on Facebook, I don't know if you guys can see it, but
the poster of the 3D breakout.
The poster of the 3D breakout.
Yeah, bring it up closer where we can see it. That looked awesome.
Let me see if I can grab it. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, that did look awesome.
Yeah, I think there was even an offer to make a T-shirt version of it for the fest by Carlos too, if I remember.
Look at that. It's framed. That thing is really nice, man.
Wow. Oh, that's nice.
That is incredible.
I didn't realize that was. I just sort of saw it and just glanced in passing on Facebook.
Yeah, that
I'm
looks
like,
really good, dude.
Yeah, it's like a diagram. I've seen that before. I didn't realize it was like framed. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It came out really, really well. Like I'm sure it's not coming through on the.
No, it looks good.
Yeah.
And you have designers' names at
I
the bottom
totally
too,
get
which
it.
is nice.
I did, and so I went into the Boise's book, Boise and the other fellow who I can't remember.
Bill LaJudas. Boise Pete and Bill LaJudas.
That's right. And just to kind of reread that one right there, just to kind of reread what the who had involvement in it, and I probably left some important people off, and I didn't intend to, but I thought it would be really cool to kind of do a version of this exploded view for the Coco that was sort of a riff on the vintage patent posters.
Yeah.
You see from time to time, and so that's what I did.
Is Nick Marota's name on there?
No.
No, that's on the breakout ukulele poster. That's a different one.
You definitely left out an important person then.
See, well, there you go.
You're so loved.
Hey, Paul, I know that there were some people showing some interest in the Coco 3, and you were trying to locate a good starting PDF type file to work from. Have you had any luck with that at all?
No. So what and the scan on the Coco 3 is very it's washed out in the PDF that's uploaded onto the into the archive. It's also washed out in the Coco 1, but I have the Coco 1 guide, and if you look at the exploded view in the actual guide itself, hard to see maybe, but it's also totally washed out. So what I did was checked 3 of the 4 different manuals. There's 2 Coco 2 service guides. There's the Coco 1, the Coco 3. This one that I did was the only one that in even the printed stuff is crisp and clear and not washed out. So what I'd have to do is literally draw over the lines that are kind of washed out, and I have started doing that, but it's going to take.
When you say draw over, you're not talking about by hand. You're going to do this on a computer, right?
On the computer.
Okay. Yeah.
On the computer, but it's still there's an awful lot of lines in those. It's going to take.
I bet.
Is it so washed out you can't even just adjust the contrast in like Photoshop or something to bring it back out?
They're like literally, it's just not there. The lines aren't
It's
there.
almost like a really bad grayscale, probably, right?
I don't know. Yeah, and it could be that this was just, a reprint of a reprint of a reprint or something. I don't know, but I was surprised that the exploded view in this version of the Coco 2 is also totally washed out. Well, it's actually not too bad. This one would be easier because it's on one page, and some of the exploded views actually span 2 pages, like the one that I did.
Okay.
But the one that is nice and crisp and clear is the MC10. So I thought maybe I'd do that.
There we go. You don't need a lot of paper to print that poster.
Make it a postcard.
Yeah, you don't even have to kill a tree. Just give it a flesh wound.
Yeah, you all have one. Remember that.
I don't too.
For a machine that you scoff at.
No.
I got one right there.
I actually don't have one.
Okay, well, a number of you do.
It doesn't run OS 9, so like I couldn't run it.
Put it on the toilet roll.
On one,
probably printed on that little CGP 115 printer.
And one
about the size of a
perforated
toilet roll.
One perforated panel of a roll of
actually
toilet
a
paper.
fantastic idea.
So Retro Arcade Game is asking, are you going to recreate that in Vector, something like Illustrator, to make it a vector graphic so you can resize it at will without losing detail?
Oh
once
no!
Retrace?
Oh no!
Not that fancy.
That was strictly a copy paste exercise, and that's about as much effort as I'm really wanting to put in it, to be honest.
Okay.
Cool. Well, Mark B, why don't you run maybe some sponsors or commercial break or something, then we can come back and continue the fun and frolicking here.
You want to do some news next after the break?
Yeah, if nobody has anything else to talk about, that's probably a good next chunk.
Here we go.
Coco 3 yet? Hi, this is Rick Adams, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai, and you've tuned into CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer.
What's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and if you're a fan of vintage computing and retro gaming, then you're going to love our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. There you will find custom designs by Instagram artist Joel M. Adams. You can get I'm a Coconut, CoCoTALK, and other cool video game images on a t-shirt, coffee mug, or mouse pad. So if you love retro, then head on over to the retro swag shop at 8bit256.com today. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
The Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program packs turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more. The color computer is an educational aid, a home management tool, an up-to-the-minute electronic information service. The programmable, expandable TRS-80 color computer from $399 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
All right, I pushed the right buttons.
And we're back.
So did anybody else have any other updates or anything they want to mention before we hit the little bit of news we have?
We'll take the awkward silence as a no.
Actually, I actually did get a monitor. I got one of the 2007s in silver, but it doesn't have a stand. So it was Brian, I think, that had access to Dell stands.
Brian Weasler, is he still with us? He's muted and away from. He's AFK right now. So when he comes back,
Okay.
I believe that was correct though.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to hit him up for a stand. So.
And Mark, actually, I wanted to ask you what's happening with Rainbow Magazine. Any further progress or?
A little bit. But I just got a message yesterday from Ron. He's been struggling. He's been having some other issues come up. So I'm going to try my hand at it. So it's been a while since I've used PageMaker, but I think I'm going to try something called Scribus.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's open source, multi-platform. Anyway, so I'm going to try throwing stuff together. So take some of the burden off him. So we're kind of slowed down at the moment.
That open source will never catch on.
Yep, I know. So we've got about 40 pages kind of thrown together, but it needs a little bit of refinement. So there is something. It's just doesn't look that.
Okay, and have you done any research on the printed version yet versus electronic?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, I got one of the Chet Simpson had. He'd actually worked in printing at one time in his life, and he gave me a couple leads on some places. There's one called Mixam, and they actually have a sample pack you can order, so you can get what the paper looks like. It's really nice. So I have a little sample pack of paper, and they don't really have anything glossy like the magazines of old, but they do have. If you ever seen Make Magazine, that's kind of a textured surface stuff. They have some like that. So yeah, it's the cost varies upon how big of pages they are, how many pages you have, and how many you run. So
does it have much of a cost difference between color versus say black and white too? Or?
Nope. Yeah, I don't think they have any black and white options. It's all the same. So
yeah, most digital presses these days are all color anyway, the high end ones. So
yeah, they're running. Yeah, they're running an HP high-end HP printers. So yeah, I think for about 40 pages, we're looking around like $250, $270 US per issue. So that's for
that. Does that depend on how many copies you order? It gets cheaper the more you order, I presume.
Yeah, that's about 400, which I think would be about what we might be able to actually print and sell. So anyway,
Brian Weasler has returned. If he can hear us, Brian, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
You want to ask your question again, Marco?
Oh, I actually got a Dell 2007 monitor without a stand. So,
yes. Yep.
So I understand you have access to like surplus stands.
Yep.
Okay. I'll talk with you.
I got you on my list. I just been out of town.
Okay.
You
No
didn't
problem.
get the last time that you want one. Now I do have quite a few of these, but I also have the one where it slides.
Oh, so it's height adjustable.
So I have a silver one. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
Those
good.
things
Yep,
are
this was-
surprisingly heavy, aren't they, Mark?
They are.
Yes.
Yep. And so I got one that was adjustable. I was going to see if you were interested in that one. Then I was going to put
Yes.
the rest of them out there for people to see if they'd like any of these. So
Thank
and
you.
I wasn't gonna charge anything other than
Shipping.
see what it might cost for shipping, because these are
Yeah.
just going to go hit the dumpster bin. So
That's awesome.
So
cool.
Yep.
Those
Brian, you're
screens
not
are-
making it to the fest, are you?
Yes, I am.
You should bring some along there, see if you can sell them there.
Oh, maybe, yeah, good. I
Will
can
you
certainly
be-
throw some in the vehicle.
Will you be signing autographs, Brian?
Yes, I will. I will personally sign each one. A little message on the bottom of it, something like
You'll
that.
sign it, Mark D. Overholzer, but other than that, you're signing them. So
Exactly. Yeah, I'm a short 10-hour drive, so maybe
That's
not even
awesome.
that. Maybe about 8.5 hours. And matter of fact, last week with my travels, I was only 2.5 hours away from where that's at. So
Neat. Hey, Ron, how's lunch going there? Good. Thumbs up on the sandwich burger thing going on there.
There's a guy in the background running a motor or something. You hear it? No.
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 I hear my stomach grumbling now that I'm watching you eat that sandwich, though. So.
You have enough for the whole class.
Yeah. Earlier in the chat, Ken Reicher's like, "Dude, you're getting a Dell. Stand." Good stuff. Hey, David O'Connor has joined us from Australia, Nick's neighbor. Good day, David.
I think I got things working at last. I had computer problems again. Stupid laptop. Decided it wasn't going to connect.
It's good to see you, David.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm here.
You are.
Hey, I enjoyed listening to you guys talk about phase shifting in PAL and NTSC last week. So that was nice little discussions you guys had going on there.
Oh yeah. That was my that's my qualifications actually as a TV repair tech. That was my first job. So
yeah. I have no qualifications, so you're one up on me. So.
Yeah. I teach hair soldering classes. That's about my only qualification.
Hair burning class, right?
I've missed the first hour, I guess.
You haven't missed nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, I don't
You
feel
know the
quite
show.
so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I think the time is a bit more stabilized again. Now we're back to the original time, and I think for the most part, unless something major happens, it'll stay there.
Roger that. Hey, I'm gonna drop off the call, guys. I'm gonna watch the show. I got to do a few more things around the house and get ready to do my other late afternoon plans.
Yes, have fun.
Yeah, but I want to thank all you guys last week for doing the show and for continuing the show today. And the show is the community.
Live streams ended on Facebook. Yeah, I was just gonna say that too.
Yeah, I lost internet apparently.
Well, you're still on the call though. We're all still on. Well, we're all on Zoom. Well, Zoom is not dependent on you, right? So
it just reconnected back up.
Must be Restream.io because we'd lost the Facebook or YouTube one also.
Well,
okay.
I ended up with a red box down here. It glitched earlier, and I was going to bring that up for review later, but this time it just dropped off altogether for a few seconds.
Are you rebroadcasting? Because I don't see it on YouTube right now.
It's not on YouTube or Facebook right now. Oh, Tim Franklin is saying Facebook is back. I guess you got to reload it.
It says live stream is offline. Why would that be?
I don't know. My button does say stop streaming, so it thinks it's still streaming.
It's a dead stream.
It's not streaming to. It's not streaming to Facebook.
But streaming to Facebook, I think it's not streaming to YouTube.
I mean, it's not streaming to YouTube.
Do I need to stop and restart it?
Yeah, I would stop the stream.
You just told me CoCoTALK is live a minute ago.
All right, restarting.
Yeah, I got it offline too on YouTube, so we'll just restart.
So I don't know if I lost internet or what happened.
Well, hold on. I don't know what's going on. Okay, yeah, I do see it live again. Okay. I think we're live again.
Okay.
Do it live.
Wow.
It wasn't me.
With a minor disruption in service there. Steve. So I'm not sure how much of that was over the air before I was getting ready to say goodbye, but yeah, I'm going to drop off, and I just wanted to thank you guys for last week and for today and for everybody who's helping to keep the Tandy flame alive here with this show. So thanks, guys, and enjoy the rest of your show. I'll try to troll you when I can.
All right.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah. Take care.
Well, it was a little brief on and off, Stevie. It looks like we've crossed paths and then uncrossed paths.
Yeah, we're back.
I got the modular working. The power supply is all up and running. There's some flashing lights behind me in the back there, up there and over there, and
Yeah, looks like we're streaming back on everything now. You've got some confirmations in the chat. So,
Okay.
so do we still want to jump to news, or I guess David just kind of gave a little bit of an update on his what he's been up to since we've gone through updates and everybody else. So,
Well, let's see let's see all those blinky lights back there.
I haven't got it connected to the Coco yet. I literally got that working about 5 minutes before we were due to go on air, and 5 minutes before my computer decided it wasn't going to connect to the internet. And an hour's worth of frustrating trying to reset network connections and this and that and the other, and the IP address between my phone and my laptop was wrong, and it's been a pain in the neck, to be honest. But it's working now.
I see you got Remy's 3D maze demo going there too on your Coco 3.
Yeah, just something, a little bit of animation in the background there.
So if nobody else has any project updates, we can hit the news quick. There's not too much. I think a lot of people are saving stuff for the fest, but
it's 3 weeks away, isn't it?
Let's go to news
Do
Curtis Boyle.
Do I have an intro for that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Stevie usually just throws in one of my little guitar licky things there. If you have any of those, I don't know if you do.
It won't play. I had one, but can't get it to play.
Yeah, no, I don't have one of those.
Ad lib it.
Yeah, let's go. News. Okay.
Good enough.
That was horrible. Sorry.
Sorry.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Awkward news today. So, like I said, there isn't a ton of news. I mean, there's a fair bit of discussion going on. It's not like the groups were, quiet or anything. But as far as hardcore news, I think a lot of people are kind of holding their, cards to the chest here for the fest. But there was a few announcements that came out. The first one I was going to do is Mike Furman, who's been on the show before. I guess he was busy today from I remember him telling me. But he's got his new Coco Fest 2019 version of Pi DriveWire 0.5 release, which is his Python implementation of DriveWire. I'll just move this over here so I'm kind of looking at the camera. He's got a list of a bunch of the things that have been added on. It's a much more fuller implementation of DriveWire 4 now. So it also supports the MC protocol for the MC10, like we were discussing earlier. So it actually supports both platforms. But one big thing he's actually added a full manual, which you can actually see online. So it's got a complete list of everything that's supported from the standard DriveWire protocol and all these extra things. And he started to add some new things too that aren't even in the original DriveWire 4. So it's kind of taking on a life of its own. So he's had postings in Discord and postings on Facebook about it, and he's got links to his, I believe it's on GitHub. You can download the actual Pi DriveWire itself, and then you can also get the manual, which you can also view online. So for those people that have been experimenting with DriveWire or experimenting with Pi DriveWire, there's a lot of stuff to check out.
You want to show anything that's on Facebook?
Basically it's directories and stuff, so I'm not sure there's too much per se to show.
Yeah,
in that particular case, it's not like a running demo or a video or anything like that.
No.
It's just some of the other stuff I will. So I'll do a screen share once I get to some of that.
Okay.
The second one I was going to mention is Joel Reese, who's I believe an expat from the States who lives in Europe now. He's, as he pointed out on Facebook and on the Coco listserv, he says, I finally got my near Fig Fourth for the color computer revived and runnable with the help of XOR and the community here. He originally put it together for college about 30 years ago and has been mothballed since the early 1990s. So it's his version of a fourth compiler for the Coco and the 6809. And he's also added in some instructions on his OSDN page for how to install it and run it, and then also he's created a manual for it as well. So if you go on Facebook, we'll put some of the links of this stuff into the chat a little bit later here. I'll cross post it into the Zoom chat, and then you guys can post it into the main cross chat thing so everybody can get a copy of it. So there's a couple of new languages to work with, basically the new Pi DriveWire and the new fourth. And just waiting for this to come up. Okay, now I'll start sharing my screen.
All right, so I'll need to.
Curtis, if you want to back up and show the UI for Pi DriveWire, it's pretty cool. The web.
I actually don't have it installed, so I can't. If you have it, if you want to take a shot at showing it, that'd be great.
No, I don't have it installed. It's just a link from. I could try it.
Yeah, if you want to just screenshot, and then we can switch back to me after you're done.
All right, I think I've released the share, so you can share.
All right. I don't know if you see
Oh,
this.
there we are.
You can see. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's better than the command line.
Ease of use.
I don't know if you want to walk me through what I'm doing here.
Honestly, I haven't run Pi DriveWire at all yet, so I've just been going on hearsay on this. I don't have DriveWire installed in mine actually because my CoCo's so far apart and I haven't got the wireless stuff installed yet.
But
That looks nice.
yeah. And here's all the new features.
Rob, can you get a bit closer to your mic too? You're a little quiet.
Sure. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so there's new web user interface, and I guess these other features. But I was looking into doing something like a web user interface, and Mikey's already beaten to it. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more friendly to use.
Yeah, it looks to be, and the fact that he keeps adding to it every year, and now it's almost on par with DriveWire 4, and now he's starting to add new features. It's looking very interesting. This might end up replacing the original DriveWire because I don't think any development's going on the original much anymore, and there's a few little glitches that I've heard from some people. So this might be the feature forward. Plus, because it's Python, I'm imagining it's also cross-platform, right?
I would hope so.
And then it's MC10 support's nice too. So you just have one server that actually handles both systems if you have them hooked up. Assuming you have the MCX 128 interface for the hardware add-on for the MC10. Anything else on there you wanted to show, Rob? Or?
Really, that was it. Do you want me to go to Facebook or anything?
No, I can do the next part of the news there. Like I said, there's not too much to show in there since one of us knows how to run it properly yet. So,
right.
I'm hoping we'll get Mikey on the show again soon because he's much better at demonstrating and also answering questions and stuff on that too for anybody that has any. So, I know he did want us to mention the press release though because it's being released for the fest that's upcoming here at the beginning of May.
Excellent.
Okay, now I'll do a share if I can figure out from my bazillion windows which one I want. Okay, you guys can see that?
Ooh.
So about a month or two ago, we had somebody else had brought up there was two CPM hardware upgrades for the CoCo 1 and 2 back in the CoCo 1 days actually. This is the second one. The other one, they're both about $250 each, and part of that was the hardware, and part of that was a full license for a full CPM. I think 2.2 on both cases. So this was the second one that somebody posted up about. Now I've heard about it before because that was a question that Ben had. Has anybody heard of it? Yeah, I had heard of it. I'd even seen the other one running at one of the fests. This one was a little bit different in that it was a much smaller hardware piece, but it also used the CoCo's VDG screen to do the display by default. And it basically gave you an 80 by 24 window, and your VDG 32 by 16 screen would just show a little window within that you could slide around. And the difference between this and the other one actually had a built-in 6847 or 6845, chip, which actually was an 80 column card that the word pack used from PBJ, and then later Radio Shack sold it through express order. And it mentions on the ad for this one that it actually does support that. So if you had one of those 80 column cards and you had that plugged in as well, then you would get the full 80 column, but by default just used a small display window 32 by 16 within the 80 column screen, which is kind of an odd way to do it. So, I mean, for my money, it probably would have been worth it to get the other hardware add-on because it actually had that chip built into it. So you got the 80 column for free, basically. But it was just kind of, so I think it's surprising to a lot of people that kind of got into CoCo a bit later that that CPM was popular enough in the early 80s that there was two hardware upgrades for the CoCo 1 to add CPM with his full Z80 processor and, the full set of utilities and stuff for CPM as an upgrade for a CoCo 1 and 2.
So it says it's compatible with the TRS-80 Model 1?
Yep. The CPM for the TRS-80 Model 1, not TRS-DOS.
Oh.
It kind of takes off of what Teeny did on the Model 2 166,000, where the Z80 was like the base machine, and you added the all the 68,000 cards to be able to run the Unix.
Yeah, their version of Xenix, I think they called it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
But you could
Xenix.
run the standard DOS using the Z80, and then if you're running Xenix, the Z80 became a co-processor for I/O and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. So it's almost kind of a takeoff of the same thing. So 6809 versus 68,000, you know?
And the Coco had one actually advertised too. Micro RGS, which is another Canadian company, I think out of Quebec, if I remember correctly, had a 68008 upgrade card that they were offering. I don't know if it ever got sold, though. I kind of heard rumors that they kind of folded before that happened. But and then Chris Burke of Burke and Burke fame was actually doing the Rocket board in the early 90s as a 6 to 8,000 upgrade for the Coco, but he didn't get enough orders to cover the hardware manufacturing costs. Now, in the modern time with all the CPLDs and FPGAs and everything else these days, you probably could do something like that, you know, for an affordable cost. But at the time, it was just too much. I think he needed a minimum of 300 orders to make it a go for manufacturing the hardware, and I think he only got like 150 or 200. He didn't quite make it, so it never got released. Well, apparently he had some drivers done, and it would run OSK and everything else too.
Oh, cool.
Okay, next up. This is a post that Boise Pete put up. He's doing the Rainbow Magazine Preservation Project. And he's got a GoFundMe account, which last time I checked has got 500 of its $600 goal already met. And basically the idea here is to get all of the complete run of Rainbow from the very start to the very finish, put into professionally made books and stuff, and then donating it to a library, which I think is in Louisiana, which is I think in his backyard type thing. And then they want to expand this later on to include other retro magazines and books from the old 8-bit computer era. So basically this is to cover getting everything made professionally. If you click on the GoFundMe link, he's got some details there. Might as well see where they're at. 510 of 600 now. So this project, this basically just cover what it is. This project seeks to preserve the full collection of magazines by having them professionally bound in library quality books. The collection will then be donated to the Evangeline Parish Library in, I don't know if I pronounced this correctly, Ville Platte, Louisiana, for posterity. And the library has also agreed to create a collection of books, works for the color computer, and other retro computers. So as I mentioned before, this will expand and provide the shelf space for these works, so then people can just go take a look at them all. And you know, different than being a digitized version like we've got on the Color Computer Archive, this would actually be the physical copies as they were done originally. So a nice place to go find them all. So that's a cool project.
Yeah. So he's needing donations of magazines to fill out the missing ones?
I think he's got most of the magazines, at least for Rainbow. But when he starts going to the other magazines, like if he starts doing Hot Cocoa, Color Computer Magazine, Color Computer News, and some of the others, and then the other 8-bit micros at the time, I'm sure he will need some of that. At this point, they're trying to get enough money to get the binding and stuff, everything done to get it ready for the library as a professionally bound book or books.
Sure.
Are they interested in adding the new Rainbow magazine to the collection in there?
He hasn't mentioned anything about that. I know at this point it's meant to preserve stuff that was done in the past before it gets destroyed or lost or whatever over the years, and to have the original pages there as opposed to just printing out digitized copies that might have some glitches, etc. But yeah, maybe ask Boise if he wants to continue that on. Obviously, we can donate that once.
Well, he'll get a pristine copy at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then here's one that's of great interest to me personally. This is Ed Snyder's update in the Gimme X. He's got a new revision of the board for internal testing, which has some modifications from the previous one. The main additions this time, it had VGA support already, but now he's added an NTSC encoder and analog circuitry, so it supports S-video and composite as well. He also added support for the 512K memory upgrades, such as the Boomerang 2 meg board. I have to ask him about that. Does that mean he's got the DAT part built into the Gimme somewhere to handle the extra MMU blocks natively now, and you don't need the DAT board at all? Or if he just meant, because he mentions a little bit later, he includes a low-profile PLCC design, and he had been talking, I believe, with Richard that the two boards wouldn't quite fit in the case properly. So I don't know if he just means he's redesigned the board so that it will fit, or if he's actually incorporated the MMU hardware onto the Gimme X, you don't need that extra DAT board at all. So if I know Ron had invited Ed to come onto the show today, even in chat, and if he does show up, maybe we can get a firm answer on that. But it's definitely going forward. He also, like one other problem he had is that the socket where the Gimme is, he's got this little adapter that goes into it, so it plugs into the existing Gimme socket, and the one he had before was a little tall, so it was getting near the top of the case. You had pretty well run it with the case off to get it comfortably in there, so that you had to take the top cover off the Coco. I think by the sounds of it here, he's got it short enough now that it should fit with the case intact, where you can put the cover back on. So it should be much more presentable visually.
That's a pretty exciting update. This, I think everybody's pretty excited about this Gimme X. It's
yeah, I mean, just even having the composite, the S video, and the VGA out, which lets you use a lot more modern stuff there. But the fact that the thing is being programmed by Gary Becker, and he's already done this on his Coco FPGA project, which has extra graphics modes and extra text modes. There's like an 80x60 mode. He's added some extra color palettes and stuff like that beyond the Cocos. And that stuff can all be incorporated in here too. It could be like the biggest major hardware upgrade on a Coco 3 since its inception, really. Especially if the MMU is built in, because that basically covers the 2 meg upgrades. This will cover palettes of 256, 512 colors, higher res text modes, higher res graphics modes. I mean, this could add a whole bunch of stuff. And from what I understand, there's room for other stuff like adding limited blitting stuff for doing screen scrolls and memory moves and maybe even sprites and stuff in the future too. So this has a lot of potential in the future. And they are making it flash upgradable in the field, which means if you buy one when it's first released and not all that stuff's ready, you can actually just flash upgrade just like you do a Coco SDC in the field. You don't have to send it back in per se.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of exciting stuff here. I'm just, I really want to see this.
Yeah, the 2 meg update, that was pretty exciting too, hearing about that. That was
Yeah, I mean, we've had 2 meg upgrades for literally 20 some odd years, because Disto did one way back in the day, but it ran hot, and you had a lot of soldering to do on the motherboard to do it, and Richard didn't, and Jim had made the upgrades a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean specifically the Gimme X is now supporting the 2 meg, the Boomerang. That was,
I know he'd mentioned before, like they could work in conjunction with each other on the previous version of the Gimme X board, so that wasn't an issue. You could run 2 meg with it. It just that it physically didn't fit inside the computer properly. The two boards would hit each other.
Okay.
Right. What I got to find out from Ed is he just solved that problem where the two can coexist in the case properly, or has he actually added some of the DAT hardware onto it so that now the 2 meg upgrade is just the memory board, so it's cheaper for people that have the Gimme X. So I got to find out about that, and I don't see.
I think it does support the DAT feature, because Richard was mentioning that last night when we were chatting on Discord.
Oh, did he? Okay, so he's been in contact with him?
He's been collaborating with him. Yeah. So.
Oh, cool. Well, if that's true, that definitely will help, because that means the Boomerang actually gets cheaper for people that have the Gimme X.
Yeah. And it looks like he's got a couple of connectors here where you'd plug the Boomerang into, like either the three up on top.
That would make sense.
So the Boomerang gets plugged directly into the Gimme X board instead of into the Coco 3 board.
That board, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a guess. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Except that says S video up there, the 3 on the top.
Yeah, and then he's got the VGA out on the right.
So the DAT function, does that just enable you to address the 2 meg memory? Does it,
yeah, it adds 2 extra bits to the MMU, because the MMU registers in the original Gimme are only 6 bits, and with 8 meg times 6 bits, that's 512K.
Yeah.
And then the Disto board and all the other memory upgrades that go beyond 512K add in the extra bits, so you can fill all 8 bits, which gives you 2 meg. But the Disto one, and I can't remember if Richard's board does this or not, but they were write only. So you could write to it, but if you tried to read it back, you would get only the lower 6 bits, so you'd actually get the wrong ones if you had something mapped. And that's the reason that some of the the Sierra games broke on the 1 and 2 meg upgrade boards, because they cheated and actually read the Gimme back directly to see what do I have mapped in right now. And if you were on a 2 meg machine and your video memory happened to be up in the the 1.5 meg area or something, it would return it as if it was only in the lower 512. So of course it's mapping in completely wrong memory and writing to the wrong part, and that's why they would crash. They've been since patched, but so I don't know. I don't know the extent of this, and I wish I was in here to kind of clarify things there. But he would make it so it's read and write, so that would even solve the compatibility problem with the original versions. And you could rewrite the OS a little bit to be a little bit faster, because it didn't have to keep its own separate copy of what's really mapped in where type thing. So hopefully before the end of the show, it'll pop in and we can get some clarification on that. Excuse me. And this is something Steve had posted just after last week's show, or after he viewed it anyway. This is our big discussion on PAL versus NTSC. He found a nice little video that kind of summarized this up. And once again, I'll rather than playing the whole thing, I'll post this into the chat so that people can view it at their leisure. But it was a nice technical explanation of the differences between PAL versus NTSC, and why the standards did each thing, and part of it has to do with like when they were created, and PAL took some time to wait for the technology to catch up a little bit, so they didn't have to fuss with phasing and everything else. So it was quite an interesting little video, and we kind of discussed it, I think, in quite good detail last week. So I don't want to replay the whole video here.
I have to watch that. I haven't seen that one yet, but NTSC, everybody knows it stands for never the same color.
Yeah, they even mentioned that at the beginning of the video.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I haven't watched it yet.
And these last two links here, we actually have in the chat, the guest, one of our guests here is actually the person that made this video. And he's got a website, and he's also got his YouTube page, and it's Retro Arcade Gaming. So I will just show you the couple things. Like basically what he's been doing a lot of retro videos of various, official arcade games, and then the ports, licensed ports to all the various 8-bit and 16-bit platforms at the time. And lately he's been starting to expand the coverage a bit. So now he's including clones, because a lot of the machines had clones of some of these arcade games that were as good or better than the actual official arcade ports, or they didn't have an officially licensed port. And we all know how cheap Tandy was on doing officially licensed ports, especially in the Coco 1 and 2 days. I think we had 4. We had 5 maybe. We had Frogger from the Cornsoft group. We had Zaxxon, Puyan, and Moon Shuttle from Datasoft, and we had Poltergeist from the movie. And that was it, I think, up until the Coco 3 was released. I remember as being official licensed ports. For some reason, when the Coco 3 came out, Tandy got a little bit looser with the pocketbook, and then we got licenses of like Rampage and Predator and Arkanoid and Tetris and et cetera, et cetera. And some of those even included fat binary cartridges. We actually, like, Arkanoid and Tetris, if you buy the cartridge, it's got both the Coco 1-2 version and the Coco 3 version on the same cartridge. Depending which Coco you plug it into, you get completely different graphics. So those are some things I'll hope to cover in some of his future stuff. But basically, he's been starting to cover the clones. So he just recently, on the last 2, which is for Joust and for Popeye, he covered Sailor Man on the Coco side for Popeye, which is the Atomics one, and he covered Buzzard Bait on Joust. I don't know if you knew about Lancer at the time, or Pegasus and the Phantom Riders, which are also kind of clones on it. So Stevie and I have kind of reached out to him a little bit on his YouTube page, and I gave him some links to like my site, which has a couple pages specifically for doing licensed ports and clone ports. So I'll just show, here's the Popeye one. And I think this might be just at the transition. No, I jumped ahead of me again. He's got it nicely set up here too, so if you can actually see here, he's got the different platforms and where they start in the video, so you can just jump ahead. So I'll just jump ahead to Sailor Man here. Now you notice here he's got the basic artifacting, like the very basic one. It doesn't do any of the subtle colors. It doesn't do the subtle whites where you can expand the resolution. So he verified too, because I kind of asked him about it, that he's using VCC, and VCC is notoriously bad at doing composite artifacting. So I suggested, since he's got MAME set up for some of his other platforms, that he can probably switch to MAME, and he'll get much better quality video and much closer to what the real Coco 1 and 2 did back in the day. And he kind of gives a little mini review. He starts each of these videos with showing the original arcade one, so you know what you're comparing it to. And then he goes through the various platforms with a bit of explanation of the platform, a bit of an explanation on the port. Some of the machines have more than one port. And then he kind of gives a mini review of it, and then he kind of shows you some of the gameplay. And he also mentions what's different from the arcade, like Donkey Kong on the TAR 2600 only has 2 levels, for example. So he mentioned that kind of stuff here. So that's his version of the Popeye one, and then Joust, and I'm assuming YouTube's gonna.
Is that Pearl we heard in the background there, Ron?
No, not this time.
I gotta find the right Coco part here.
Pearl's sleeping.
Ah.
He also has these nice little, overlays, and he has this, selection thing on the side here. So you select the computer platform you're doing, and you select the name of the game and stuff too. So he's got a pretty nice presentation to it. And this one, he's got the artifacting colors backwards. And on VCC, I actually posted this in Discord last night, because for the life of me, I'm pretty sure you can change the artifact mode in VCC. But for the life of me, I can't remember the key sequence, and the built-in help on the screen there doesn't tell you. Does anybody else remember how you flip the red and blue on VCC?
There's a way. I just can't
Yeah,
remember where
I
saw
know
it.
there is too, but I couldn't remember it. And I thought it was on the help screen, but it just tells you how to switch between RGB and composite. So anyway, they're very interesting videos, and it's part of an ongoing series. And like I said, he's just expanded it recently to include the CoCo, and expanded recently to include clone ports versus actual licensed ports. So I'll be definitely following his page and seeing what other stuff he comes up with. And I'd love to get him on the show at some time too, to discuss some of these reviews. And once he gets, kind of his feet more wet into it type thing, and
That'd be awesome.
talk about the technical limitations of the CoCo versus some of the other machines he's comparing it with. And
on VCC, are the F1 and F2 on the regular keyboard mapped to the F1 and F2 for the CoCo 3? You probably can hold down the F key and reboot it, probably.
Oh, do the hard reset with or the soft reset with holding on the F1? Yeah, it might work. I don't have VCC running at the moment to try it, but yeah, that's possible.
That would make the most sense, though.
Use a Color Computer 3 emulator.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the brief bit of news I had.
Hey, Rob.
Yes, sir.
I sent you a video on Messenger. It's for,
okay. I am not on Facebook Messenger, but I will.
Oh. It's a Tandy Radio Shack disk drive, or for MC10. Has anybody ever seen that video?
Which one?
It's Darren Atkinson's MC10 disk drive controller, and he shows it work.
I've read about it, I think, on his blog or something. I've never seen a video for it.
Yeah, there's a video. I sent the link to Rob Inman.
Can you repost it to the chat?
How do I do that?
Oh, and Mark, I'm done sharing, so you can reset the screen stuff to normal.
I like your background there, Rob. That's give me X there. That's
yeah. Well, we were on the subject, so
yeah, it looks pretty cool. That's disappearing arms there. Your arms disappearing into the gimme. You're being assimilated.
The VGA is right there.
You want me to put it?
Either the YouTube chat or the Zoom chat.
Oh, I just was reading the chat here too. Retro Arcade Gaming mentioned that
all right,
you got CoCo working with MAME last night, and the colors are much better, as we all know from running it ourselves. And he's mentioned Dig Dug is up next, and he's going to include Pump Man by Dave Dyes. So there'll be another video coming soon. So thank you very much, Retro Arcade Gaming. I wish I actually knew your real name so I could mention you by name on the show too. So feel free to put that in chat if you want.
You see the?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Someone, I think I have to grab the ball from somebody to be able to share it.
Okay, hang on.
Jason's joined us. He has a bit of a Blues Brother look to him today.
Okay, Rob. Yeah.
He's on a mission from God. Anyway.
Yes.
Can you see this?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we at here? My Zoom's all weird.
Crazy, huh?
So does that plug into the expansion port on the back?
I think so.
And is it mutually exclusive to having RAM upgrades, or does it have a kind of a piggyback thing like the Sinclair had?
I don't know much more about it than what we're looking at.
Oh, okay.
Wonder why he didn't make it an SD reader like the CoCo SDC.
I think this was done a lot earlier, if I remember correctly.
2014. It's about the same time, isn't it? 2014.
Yeah, it was 14 or 15 is when he did the SDC. Oh, 2011. It says there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting, huh? Never
I
knew.
remember reading about it way back when, but I hadn't heard anything about it in quite a while. So.
Yeah.
But several years before the SDC, so that kind of explains that, I think.
I wonder if Jim Jerry would know about that.
Well, Jim Jerry, I think, has the MCX 128, though. He's been trying to keep most of his ports to be specific to just the 20K upgrade, the official one.
Yeah.
In the Zoom chat, I had posted something on eBay that I've seen a couple times before, and I find it kind of interesting. It's kind of some sort of a network interface. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that before and how it works.
Which one?
It's the one just before Ron's post there in the Zoom chat.
I believe it's for like the Model 1s for classroom use. They could send one program could be sent to multiple computers simultaneously.
Okay.
Oh, the network 2, actually, that worked on the CoCo 2. That basically was like a cassette duplication.
Oh, okay.
It took the signal. You could load 15 machines at once. That worked on the Model 1, 3, and the CoCo. It was meant for classrooms to share. Like, you'd have one cassette loading some educational software, and you'd set it to go, and then all the 15 other CoCos that were linked up to it would all load it simultaneously off the same load.
Oh,
and that's why it has the baud rate selection switch, too, because the 500 baud is for the Model 1 and 3, and the 1500 baud was for the CoCo.
Ah, nice.
It's not really networking. It's like a cassette duplication array thing.
Distribution system.
Yeah,
Like a broadcaster.
Yeah.
I've just seen it a couple times. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see it too often used, I think, because by the time they came out with that and they had some decent educational software on cassette for the CoCo, disk drives were already starting to become popular. So
I got one of those.
It was a niche product.
Yeah. I saw it more often used with the Model 1 and 3s than I did with the CoCo, but it did support both.
Yeah, which means somewhere there's going to be some 20-foot cassette cables.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I had for news. So unless anybody else has anything else there, I am going to go through and try to get all my links gathered up here, and I'll throw them into the Zoom chat. And then if somebody wants to cut and paste those, who has access to the cross chat thing for, so it goes to YouTube and Facebook and everything else too, then you guys can put.
Yeah, I can do that.
Did any of you guys run across a video about a guy that worked for Radio Shack, and somebody saw him give a talk about Tandy and Radio Shack and how they were separate, and the guy did like I guess it's a bootleg video with his camera, and he wound up getting most of it, but his camera would stop, and he apologized at the end, saying he couldn't get the rest of the show. But did you ever see that? It's a guy that he referred to the to the Model 1 as a trash 80, and he used to work at a Radio Shack, and I forget the guy's name or whatever, but it's pretty interesting. For a little while, he puts up the color computer on the screen along with some of the other computers, talking about how they marketed the machine. And
didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
That's much more accurate.
Well, they talked about Bill Bixby and some of the other. What was the guy with chops on his face?
Isaac Asimov?
Yeah, Isaac. He didn't even use a computer at all. He did everything on his typewriter, and they spent like 3 hours with the guy trying to get him to use a processor on a computer, and he wouldn't do it. But I guess later, didn't he make he did something on the Model 100 and sent his book in through through electronic to the publisher. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but
yeah, I think they started insisting on that kind of stuff because it was a lot easier for them to do corrections.
Yeah.
But there are a few of the old science fiction authors, like I know Jerry Parnell got into computers like right off the bat. I mean, we wrote a column for Byte.
Oh, yeah, for years.
for years. But Larry Niven, who he collaborated with on a lot of his books, there was one of those guys that for the longest time wouldn't get off a typewriter.
So keep an eye out for this video. It's a guy that worked at Tandy. He even mentioned the buildings. He showed there was a Tandy building and then a Radio Shack building, and in between was the roller skating rink, and they talked about the trolley cars. So it was kind of interesting. I couldn't find the link. I don't even know how I found it.
It's just like in Coco Forever.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't show a video of it, but he did show the car. And he talked about that they ran in tandem and they went forward and backward. and he was kind of perplexed on why they had an ice rink.
Because they could.
I guess. Weird.
Well, are we ready for the next commercial break?
I think so.
Get it.
Right. Make sure I get the right one.
Hello, I'm David Ladd. Thank you for watching CoCoTALK, the world's leading live CoCoTALK show.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me. It's the original gamer, Stevie Stroh. Gameplay. To get your copy of a Gameplay Goodness color computer gaming DVD today, head on over to 8bit256.com. There you will find several DVDs featuring color computer gameplay videos by the original gamer, Stevie Stroh. So to get your very own copy of a Gameplay Goodness color computer gaming DVD, head on over to the Retro Swag Shop at 8bit256.com and tell them the original gamer, Stevie Stroh sent you.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
This year, I needed to give a real family pleaser.
Honey, please help me with this budget.
How about a new game, Dad? Please.
And I found it. Radio Shack's Color Computer 2. On sale for just $99.95. It entertains, educates, manages. It's expandable and affordable. Now that really pleases me.
The Color Computer 2. Sale priced for Christmas. Only at Radio Shack.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
All right. You guys still there?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm busy working on links here, so I was hoping you guys would talk.
Curtis, there is some chatter between Bill Pierce and Lee Perkins on getting drive wire running in OS 9. I don't know if you saw that.
I think I did briefly, and I was kind of passing it off to Bill because, like I said, I haven't done too much work with DriveWire because I don't have it installed here. I mean, I understand the concept, obviously. And I know Bill had been answering some of the questions because you need certain drivers and descriptors loaded in, and there's a chunk that does the serial stuff and a chunk that does the drive stuff. And I know we kind of got him learning how to use QuickGen so you can quickly edit your OS 9 boot files and add in modules or delete modules and move them around. So.
Well, I think the line that I noticed was, the more I learn about Nitrous OS 9 ease of use, the more I discover I can do.
Well, of course.
That's because the marketing's good.
No, it's just once you get used to it, it's an awesome operating system, man. Sorry, Nick. Marantes, of course.
I love the curmudgeon.
But yeah, I mean, it was one of the reasons that the what has been more popular in the Coco world has seesawed over the years. Like in the 80s, obviously, rigor RS-DOS was by far the most common. In the 90s, basically OS 9 was the one where all the new stuff was happening for the most part. And now it's kind of switched back again. And now it's kind of, hopefully the EOU will help balance it back out. I mean, hopefully eventually it's equal. They're all good. And you use them for the tasks they're best suited towards. And I'm hoping that's what ease of use will help accomplish. Go ahead.
Well, you and I know that's not really true.
I'm trying to be nice to Nick. Come on.
Right tool for the job.
Yeah. Well, Nick and I have been going back and forth when he's been fiddling with, certain parts of his development tools for Popstar. And I've mentioned more than a few times, if we wrote this in Basic 9, you would have been done yesterday. So.
You get that?
Now, I've been one who has never had a problem doing cross development. Again, a lot of people do cross development these days, where they do stuff on a PC or Mac to do it on the Coco, and they do the assembling or C compiling, whatever there. But back in the day, we used to do stuff where we wrote tools that would make stuff for an RS-DOS program under OS 9, just because it was that much easier to do with the tools that were already there. So I had no problem going back and forth across platform there, because it's all Coco, so I wasn't feeling like I was cheating per se. It's
So
once
is-
again using the best tool.
So OS 9, is that? I've never actually used it. I've got all the stuff on my Coco SDCs, obviously, but I still get to play around with it. Is it like Windows is to DOS? Like Windows runs on, or used to run on top of DOS. So
No, this does
is it
not run
like-
on top of Disk Basic. It uses Disk Basic to load the bootstrap, and then after that, it shuts all of Basic off and has its own complete OS with APIs and everything else.
Okay, so it's and programming language wise, it's its own programming language as well.
Oh, there's lots of them. There's a shell scripting language that's built in. There's Basic 09. There's several different assemblers. There's C compilers. There's Forth compilers, Pascal, Fortran, COBOL, Forth.
Best thing is it's multitasking, multi-threaded.
Yep. Some windowing. I mean, a bit more primitive than modern day stuff, but you can do some windowing stuff too with pull down menus and stuff where you don't have to write all the menu handling stuff yourself. You just set them up and let the OS do it.
It's got drivers for various things, so you don't have to worry about targeting.
It's got hardware extracted drivers, which was a big plus in the 90s, because that's when all the new
Mhm.
hardware, like IDE interfaces and all this stuff was starting to come out, and it was very easy to write drivers for that because it's built to be expandable. It's built to be added on. Whereas RS-DOS, you have to do all these hacks to get HTTP DOS to work or ADOS to work, and you have some limitations as to how much you can add before you start breaking things. And it's good, like its native file system is built to handle 128 meg drives easily and up to 4 gig drives with multi-sector cluster partitioning and stuff. And yeah, it's got a lot of advanced features, especially considering OS 9 was originally written in 1980, and then the first Coco version was written in 83, and then the Coco 3 version in 85, 86.
And automatically handles up to 2 megabytes of RAM.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a GUI. Like if you get the ease of use version, there's the GUI is built into it too, so it's already pre-set up with a lot of stuff for you to fiddle with
So
if you want
basically-
to just kind of get into it.
So basically, any of the languages that you're programming, like Fortran or Basic or whatever, it compile that operating system itself. The OS 9 operating system has the compilers and everything built in, does it? I guess. Or
Well, originally they were all not third party, but originally they were all for sale separately. I think on OS 9 level 1, you got the assembler came free, and then on OS 9 level 2, I think Basic 09 came free, if I remember, and then everything else you had to pay for. But nowadays we've been kind of installing. Now we don't have some of those languages on the EOU because I haven't found copies of them again yet, like Fortran and COBOL, because back in the day they were $300 to $500 each. They were meant for businesses, or because OS 9 was also on other 6809 based systems like gimmicks and stuff that were thousands of dollars with more advanced hardware. And those languages were more for that platform because it was meant to run a business or an office or something like that. But they are available. And there's like Logo is another one. There's a bunch of them. We've got a couple of assemblers of C compiler and Basic 09, I think, are all on the ease of use right now, if you wanted to fiddle with those.
And the ease of use is not on the SGC image. So you'd have to manually download that and add it to your SD card.
Yeah, it's on my website and it's also on the Color Computer Archive. They've got, the latest beta 3 and beta 4 will be the one that's getting released for the fest, which has some more additional stuff added on. I have no problem with people putting on the SDC image if people want to put it in the base one. We have it set up as a 128 meg hard drive image. And on the SDC, you just type DOS on that image and it kicks up. Or you can even set it to auto execute. Like if you decide you want to live in OS 9, like I usually do, you can actually have it so as soon as you turn your Coco on, it immediately fires up and goes straight into it. And it will have support for real-time clocks too. So.
And you can run a program called RDOS or something, the Burke and Burke program, so you can run Basic, like a Radio Shack Basic in.
Yeah, it's not 100% compatible. As long as it's a pure Basic program, you're fine. But if you start doing a lot of peeks and pokes, expecting ROMs to have certain things in certain spots, that won't
changes them around. Yeah.
But for straight Basic, it works pretty good. Though once you get used to Basic 09, it's such a more powerful version of Basic. I wouldn't honestly go back.
And OS 9 is still in commercial use today.
Yeah, I mean, OS 9 eventually got ported to 68K, 68,000 series, and then it also got ported to the PowerPC and the Intel. And we had Alan Battinger on here earlier, who actually has the rights to what Microware got, because Microware got sold off a couple times. And it's still an active project today for modern hardware. And there's he actually gave an offer where you can download a version of it that you can actually play with at home on modern hardware.
Community
virtual machine. Yeah.
I did ask in the 68K forum on Discord about where I could get a 68K copy, but nobody really answered me. I don't want to. I'm hoping not to pay for it. But
yeah,
maybe.
there was versions for the Mac, there was versions for the Amiga, and there was versions for the Atari ST. The Atari ST one, if I remember correctly, was done in North America because Kevin Darling contributed to that one. The Amiga one and the Mac ones, I think, were both done in Europe. The European OS9 community is a lot bigger than it was here in North America.
I want a copy for Amiga, but I don't think it was on the repository.
Probably not.
For the Amiga repository.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the name of the company that did the Amiga version is. I know it was two different companies. One did the Mac and one did the Amiga. And I can't remember.
It's pretty well unknown in the Amiga world.
Yeah. Yeah, the Atari ST, I think, as far as the 68K platforms, besides the Coco 4s, quote unquote, of which we had multiple ones with the TC70, the MM1, System 4, which all had OSK that was sold with them bundled. But I think the most popular one was the Atari ST port.
Oh, yeah.
The Atari ST wasn't multitasking to start with, so that was the only way you could get a multitasking one.
Yeah.
The Amiga already had multitasking, so.
The OS9 does not come up on AmiNet. So search continues.
Yeah, I'm not sure where to find it. I remember I saw it running back in the day. So. And the Mac version was done by Something Labs. That's all I remember off the top of my head, because it was for the 68K Macs.
Yeah, good luck Googling the Mac version. You're going to get Mac OS 9.
Yeah, Mac OS 9. Yeah, well, that was the big lawsuit between the two of them, too. So,
yeah, right.
We're lost.
Yep.
I've still got my Mac G4 sitting beside me there. It's got it's dual boot Mac OS 9 and 10 Tiger. It's my old Pro Tools system from back in around 1999, 2000. I think I got that. It's a big screaming 400 megahertz single processor G4. It was the bee's knees in its day. It's a little slow by today's standards, but still works. Still got the original hard drives in it. Still boots up.
But yeah, if you want to fiddle with Nitrous 9, like I said, it's available on my site. It's also available on the Color Computer Archive. It's the same copy. If you need any help with it, just feel free to ask. We've got Nitrous 9 groups on Discord. There's a Nitrous 9 group on Facebook, which I believe Ron DeVoe set up for us. So thank you for that. And Ron's been, helping run it too as a user. Like we have, the people that want to learn all these programming languages and stuff too, but we also want to make it user friendly for the user, where you don't have to be a Unix geek per se to do it. And if you're familiar with Unix, OS 9 will feel pretty at home. It's got some differences, but it's closer to Unix than it is to DOS.
John Linville said on YouTube that the OS 9 68K for Amiga was done by Digby Tarvin, an Australian.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Way to go, Australia.
Another one of our neighbours, Nick.
Yeah.
Be just
you
next door.
guys better track him down and get a copy of that sucker. It's
probably just next door. Can you hear all my noise as well, just like you can, Nick?
Yeah, just kick the koala out of the way and just go say hi and go grab it. So.
Unfortunately, there's not much software to run on it, so it's a bit of a pointless exercise, really.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true, though, because, well, it depends. If you want like games and stuff, then obviously, yes.
Yeah, let's face it, that's what most people want.
But as far as like utilities and stuff like that, if it was written as a console terminal program, which a lot of the utilities like ARC and DARC and ZIP and stuff like that were, that would run on any 68K system. You could run on the Mac, it could run on the Amiga, it could run on the Atari ST, because it only ran through, because everything's abstracted. Like your APIs for writing to the screen are all abstracted through the hardware, so you're not talking to the hardware directly. You wrote the program once and it would immediately work on all three of those platforms. Same as the stuff on the 6809. If you wrote it on the Coco and you wrote it as a console app, it would immediately run on a Gimmicks or a Smoke Signal Chieftain or any of these other platforms too. You didn't have to recode it. to get it to work, because this guy has an 80 column card, this guy has a 132 column card, the Coco has 32 columns. It just worked.
So how does Basic 09 compare speed-wise to regular Basic? If you're,
it's actually
it's a lot faster,
but it's still
oh
it's
wow,
like
okay,
a code interpreter.
It's not. It's partially compiled, partially interpreted.
Yeah, it's a pseudocode.
P code. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't reinterpret every line like regular Basic does. That's one big thing. It also has different variable types too. Like basically, Color Basic has strings and real numbers, and that's it. So all your math is done in real numbers. And Basic 9 adds the integer format. So if you use stuff that only requires a 16-bit number, it runs much faster using native 6809 instructions. It also has complex data types. You can set up a data type almost like an object, not quite, but where you can mix a string and an array and some numbers and reals and everything else all together as one structure, and then get and use it as one block.
Okay, so and what about, like, I suppose these are all questions I should really ask on the group, I suppose, rather than chewing up CoCoTALK. But
well, this is
things
related,
like
so it still applies.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just thinking of things like accessing hardware in direct access, like some of the stuff I'll be doing with the modular here in the background is I'll be using peeks and pokes a lot for on regular
Peek and poke
Basic.
is supported in Basic 09 as long as it's memory mapped I/O hardware in the memory I/O space. You can do that. I mean, the quote unquote legal way to do it would be to write a driver, then you just pass calls to the driver from your program, whatever language you decide to write it in,
and there might already be a driver too.
Yeah, well, I think for what he's doing, probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on a lot of custom DACs and ADCs and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, so I'll be assigning basically memory addresses to it directly, and then accessing them.
But there's like MIDI drivers already, like MIDI drivers to talk to MIDI hardware cards with the serial port, and you just send it the data, and it automatically sends it out the right baud rate and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, okay.
But it's built for hardware abstraction. So, I mean, as long as it's not super time intensive where you can go through the rigmarole of going through an OS to do all the calls. Like if you remember back in the old days when Windows 3 came out, not many arcade games were made for it because the machines were not fast enough. When you abstracted the hardware from the video and your sound cards, they ran slower, noticeably slower. So a lot of people just said screw it and wrote DOS games anyway because you want to talk to the hardware directly for speed. As the machines got faster, that became less of an issue. Now nobody writes directly to the hardware anymore. Everybody goes through the API calls. And OS 9 would be more in the old version of that, where the abstraction of the hardware does slow things down, but it does mean you can write a program once that will run on various hardware without you having to change anything in your own program.
Yeah, okay.
How speed intensive is your application going to be? Like, is it critically timing intense, or is it like MIDI where once every 60 of the seconds fine, or what?
Yeah, there's two different approaches I'm going to be experimenting with. One approach is to have a hardware device, like a shift register type thing, to store values, and then have that clocked directly from the sequencer running in the background. So the sequencer will be doing the timing. Or the other option is to have the CoCo actually doing, sending out the clock pulses, which will be very critical timing-wise. If that's the method I'm going to experiment with first. So the CoCo will be sending out regular. Sorry.
Do it in RS-DOS direct assembly.
You can do that in OS 9 too. Yep. I mean, the play command that I did for OS 9, which actually plays WAV files and Amiga SVX files and all that kind of stuff, does the same thing. I shut the hardware interrupt system off. I basically suspend OS 9 after using OS 9 system calls to load the thing into RAM, because I actually will use the full 2 meg if you have it too. So it's actually doing all that through regular calls onto the disk drive. I don't have to write anything specific for that. Allocating the memory, I don't have to write anything specific for that. It just uses standard calls, read and allocate RAM. And then at the end of that, then I shut the interrupts off for OS 9 and basically just start pummeling the hardware DAC, at whatever speed the WAV file needs.
Yeah. The other option was I was anything that was super critical timing wise, I was going to write in assembly and just call that from BASIC, load that into memory somewhere, and just call it from BASIC when I need it. But I was going to experiment with the whole thing in BASIC first and just see if I could. I'm giving myself a challenge here, especially on the CoCo one. But I want to see if I can write something that's going to be timing critical in BASIC on a CoCo one that will work reliably. So I'm setting myself a deliberate challenge there to do to do something the most that'll require the tightest code, basically. So
yeah, it depends. It depends if you mean time and critical, like it's firing at the exact same interval every time, but the intervals aren't that often, or do you mean you have to hit it like 10,000 times a second?
No. It's not very frequent, but it's got to be exact.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the CoCo will be producing timing pulses for beats in music, basically. So it'll be one, say 64th beats, basically 1/64th of a note. So now picture hi-hats, like if you're playing hi-hats to a disco beat, like that sort of thing, and it's got to be super critical timing-wise, otherwise it'll get sloppy. So
I guess this kind of turned into a chord dump. We probably should have played the chord dump thing, eh?
It's not too late.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good score dump. No, I'm just kidding.
If you have an anticipated core dump, see your doctor.
No, it's a fun little OS to play with. It does have some limitations. Like if you want to do incredible hardware accesses for a top end game or something like Nick does or Steve York does, then yeah, it's not for you. Now, if you want to do a basic game, you can definitely do basic graphics games faster under Basic 09 than you can do under RS-DOS.
So what about the Gimme X with the 5 megahertz acceleration?
Well, that would help no matter whether you're running Disk Basic or OS9.
But then can you do, well, that's true, I guess. So you'd still have an advantage in RS-DOS.
Yeah, I would speed up everything.
Is he actually doing the 5 megahertz? I haven't heard that as an official statement.
Not official. He asked if it could be done.
I do know that Bill Noble has written some extensions for the Matchbox CoCo, which is using the same core that Gary's using, which adds the extra text modes and extra graphics modes we were talking about earlier. So there's support in the graphics drivers for Nitrous 9 already to handle some of that extra text and stuff. And if the Gimme X does it the exact same way, you just have to enable that, and then bang, you've got these extra modes already ready to go.
Yeah, Ed Snyder was just confirming that the memory chips in the Boomerang could handle it, and it sounded like between Richard, Jim Brain, and Ed Snyder, they suspected that 5 megahertz at least.
Yeah, that would be cool. I definitely wouldn't have a complaints running on 5 megahertz CoCo.
What was the maximum speed for the 6809 was 68C09, wasn't that around 3.5 megahertz?
That's 6309. Yeah, the 6809 technically stopped at 2 megahertz officially from Motorola. The Hitachi one officially, depending on who you talk to, at Hitachi was either 3 or 3.5 megahertz or 4.
Okay.
So what? But most people that have done testing on it, even back in the 90s when we first found out about it, said it runs reliably 99% of the time at 5 megahertz.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's just what they tested it up to, right? They only tested it up to 2 megahertz, and anything above that, they don't guarantee.
Well, 3 they did. 3 they guaranteed. That was actually I've got the Hitachi catalog, and 3 was an officially rated speed.
Yeah. So the 6809, you still be limited to around 2 megahertz or 2.5, 3 megahertz, maybe if you pushed it.
Yeah,
I guess.
the fastest I ever pushed to 6809 with upgrading the clock crystal on the CoCo 3 itself that I did, I think was about 2.25. I know Bruce Ice did, and a few others did it up to about 2.5, 2 3/4. Well, they had to add fans at that point because that's the old CMOS chips, right? And the Hitachi is using NMOS, which is a lot cooler.
Yeah. No, my CoCo 3 now has a 6309 in it. That's
well, if you decide to run Nitrous 9, definitely get the 639 version of it then, because it runs a hell of a lot faster.
Yeah, okay.
You can run both. I mean, the 609 version will run in the 609, so you can compare the speeds there. And I have done a lot of optimizations the last couple betas to try to get the 609 a bit more up to speed compared to the 639, but there's a long ways to go, and I never will be able to match it, as Nick can attest. Once you start writing some decent 639 code, the 609 just can't keep up.
Yeah.
Have you tried running Sockmaster's mod player? or even the 6809 version, but there is a 6309 version as well. David?
No, I haven't yet. No, I played around with his sampling utility the other day. I haven't recorded anything into the RAM yet, but I'm going to try that next.
Oh, you need the mod player, yeah.
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 The mod player plays the old Amiga mod 4 voice with digitized samples for each of the voices with pitch bending and all kinds of stuff on it. And the 609 version gives you enough extra CPU time that you can actually run it almost 2 kilohertz better sampling rate.
Oh, wow.
Than the 609 version can do.
Well, that's a fair improvement.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's without increasing the clock speed of the computer.
Yeah, that's just changing it to native mode and using some native
6309, yep.
Yep.
Better code. Yeah, okay.
It took years to convince Nick of this, but he's finally on board, so that's good.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I understood Nick's reasoning for that. I mean, there wasn't enough of them out there for him to make it worthwhile, you know, if you're going to cut your market down to people at 6309s. Because back then, too, you had to basically do these upgrades yourselves. And this requires desoldering a 40-pin CPU and putting in a socket and putting in a new chip. And that's beyond the scope of a lot of people, including myself. So, but now that we have, you know, Boys in Tech and Cloud9 and Jim Brain that can all do these upgrades, you can send your Coco in and get it upgraded, and you don't have to worry about doing the actual hardware upgrade yourself. I think once we get more and more software to support it and people see what the speed differences are and some stuff you can do that you just could not do on the 6809 efficiently, that I think we'll see more and more people getting into it, and then that'll feed more and more software coming out for it as well.
Yeah, yeah. One of the best things I invested in recently, actually, I should have invested in one 30 years ago, but they were a lot more expensive back then, was a proper vacuum desoldering. It's a proper station with a temperature controlled with a proper vacuum desoldering with multiple size tips and everything, and that makes the job of removing 40-pin ICs so much easier. You don't damage your circuit boards doing it, and it's yeah. Without one of those, the job is
I mean, in my
impossible.
case, even if you gave me all these fancy tools, I still couldn't do it. I just am all thumbs when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
all thumbs,
or all hair, one of the two.
Curtis realizes his limitations.
Yes, I'm very limited when it comes to anything of the two electronics. Programming them, I'm not too bad at. I can fend for myself there, but hardware-wise, I can barely solder wires to make a serial cable.
That's all right. We'll fix the machines. You program them.
Yeah, that sounds good.
This is why I was asking you
one
about
of these.
capacitors earlier. I'm the same.
I use this quite often.
Oh yeah, looks good.
This is what I use for desoldering here.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the fancy one with the vacuum though, but I mean, you heat it up, you give a little pinch of the ball, and it'll draw the solder in. You just got to be. The big thing is to be careful not to heat up the circuit board, the traces.
Yep,
Because
they lift.
The traces will lift off, and so you want to make sure you get all the solder off first.
You want to use good flux and desoldering wick or something to take off majority, and like a little solder sucker to do around through-hole components.
Yep, get all that solder out of there, and don't pry too hard because you'll lift a trace. And so if you find one that's not quite right, go back and touch it up again. But it just takes the patience and stuff like that. And if you are going to invest if you are going to invest in a soldering iron, ideally one that has a temperature control, so you can bring it down to the lowest point, so you're not putting a lot of heat into it. And if you're going to replace anything, if it doesn't have a socket, you put a socket in first, and then it makes things a lot easier too, because you're less likely to damage the socket than you would the chip.
There's the you can see that there. That's the 6809 removed from the board on my Coco 3 there. And then if I flick that way, that's a socket installed there on the board, and the 6309 installed in the socket.
Now, for people in the US who have NTSC Coco 3s, they'll wonder why the 6809 is facing the wrong way.
Oh yeah,
it's vertical. It's up and down on the on an NTSC one. On a PAL one, it's horizontal like that.
Yep, yeah, sideways. Yeah. It's a PAL Coco 3, that one. So, and it's a 63C09, so it should be the faster of the ones, courtesy of Brendan Donaghy.
Yeah, that's one officially rated for 3.5 megahertz and usually runs fine at 4 and 5.
Yep. So that's what's in the Coco 3 behind me there at the moment. the Coco one above, that's got the 6809 in it. My other Coco one, which is on the floor, which needs another keyboard, that's got a 6309. And I've got a NTSC Coco one, which has got a 6809. So I've got a combination of different things there to experiment with. So it's have all bases covered in programming and experimenting with different things. So.
Are you going to have a concert via Coco someday?
As in with the music, with the sequences running off it, you mean? Yeah. I was actually hoping to have that ready for this week, but I do have the modular running, as you can see in the background now. So it's this week I'll be doing some experimenting, interfacing the Coco with the modular, just with the hardware that I've got at the moment. And just experimenting with a bit of coding and see if I can get the Coco to control the step sequencer in the background there, and do some old Tangerine Dream style Berlin School electronic music and have it running from the Coco.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Talking about the Cocos and the music. Who was did we have the gentleman on, or did we just talk about him last year? He had I'm trying to remember. We either went to his webpage or something where he had multiple Cocos that he hooked together and did some sort of presentation back in the day where he had multiple Cocos connected together doing some music and stuff like that. Does anybody recall what we talked about?
There's a few people that have done that actually, like Brian Schubring, the music man. I mean, he has a bunch of MIDI synths that he's hooked up to one Coco, and he's actually tracked multiple synths simultaneously from the Coco. Dennis Kitts also did his ambient room experiment. He also sold Color Quaver, which is a 4-voice.
I think that's who that we were talking about. Yeah, what was the name again?
Dennis Kitts, Bathory Kitts.
Dennis Kitts. Okay, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he did the lower kit. He did hardware and software. He did stuff for the Model 1 and 3 as well, even before.
And he still runs the Coco mailing list too.
Yeah. He's a professional musician. Like he's written operas and symphonies and all kinds of stuff. He's quite active. But he did a demonstration of his ambient room, which is a demo he did back in the 80s, where he actually had Cocos that actually had sensors, hardware designed by him, that would react and emit sound based on movement within the room. So he had all these sensors scattered around, and then as you wandered through the rooms, music changed following the people around that were walking through.
That's it. I love that kind of stuff. I've done a few experiments myself with that kind of stuff, and modular synthesizers are perfect for that. Be interesting to see if to incorporate the Coco into all of that too, and have things like video cameras and use them as sensors. There's some very cool stuff you can do.
Yeah. I should mention, Mark, you're still doing the chat stuff, because I just finished posting all the links from the new stuff if you want to cross post if you haven't been already.
Yeah, I was wondering if you want to just post those in the regular chat. Yeah, I can do that. So, okay, I'll put them in the.
Well, you've got the cross chat, so you can actually get them into YouTube and Facebook and everything else.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that here. So.
And I see Al Hartman's just joined us in chat, and Heavy Systems Inc.
Grant Leedy.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Grant, sounds like you're on the road.
Yeah, I am. I'm out of town right now, but I just thought I'd pop in and say hi to everybody.
Watch out, there's a tornado behind you.
That's a pretty serious looking tornado too.
It's Twisted Brother instead of Twisted Sister.
So Grant, we got to get you a new picture. I've seen that too many times looking out the window here.
Bit of storm chasing going on there.
What F number is that one?
I would probably say that would be a EF3 or 4, if not a 5. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Depends if it hits city or not.
But I thought I'd help everybody's ratings since Stevie's not here today. So.
Well,
yeah. I was here at the beginning, so the ratings are still going to be a bit lower, but.
If you guys,
sorry, Kevin.
If you guys get around to Ron's Garage, I just posted a 15-minute Radio Shack video of commercials. There's 30 commercials on there, and they range from toys to radios to computers, and lots of toward the end, lots of the PC stuff. So it's interesting to watch. With
There isn't any copyrighted music in there, is there, Ron?
Gosh, I don't know. It's all Radio Shack commercials, so
yeah.
Why do you
I'd be a bit leery playing that many commercials in a row and then getting them pulled down.
Play them with the sound off.
Well, it's a YouTube thing.
So it's already on YouTube, so
Yeah.
they should be safe.
30 commercials in chronological order from Radio Shack.
Any of them we can harvest?
There's a couple. There's 2 color computer ones. The old gray commercial and the one that we just played is in there, along with Bill Bixby and many different commercials showing, right from the 1200 up to the 3000.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that later.
Pretty cool. And it's, in VHS ugliness, In fact, one video is pretty screwed up. It has sideways lines and stuff on occasion. So they must have got the best they could find of that particular commercial. A lot of commercials are so ugly. Do you think anybody would ever in the future have like original video of some of this stuff? That would be cool to see it nice and clear.
Well, those would have to be something that somebody like accidentally recorded on a VHS tape or something in order to show.
Yep.
But it's so ugly.
Of course, the tapes are kind of deteriorating now.
Yeah.
There's a post about somebody at Midwest Gaming Classic this weekend, and asking, is anyone else here? And there's a TRS-80 Model 1 and a color computer. Any of the Midwest people know about this?
That's going on right now, you said?
It was posted 1 hour ago. I could share my screen.
Somebody said they were going to be there. Somebody, I think, from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I kind of remember that faintly, too.
Joshua Yeager on Facebook. Yeah, exactly.
That Coco one in the background there you've got, Ron, just beside you there. Is that the keyboard on that? Is that off an earlier model?
It's a Mark Data keyboard.
Oh, okay. Right. Thought it might have been off a Model 1 or 2 or something like that. Or...
No, it was made for it. It's Mark Data products.
I remember Color Computer News had an article where they actually showed you how to cut the case wider, and you can actually fit a Model 3 keyboard, and they showed you how to rewire it into a CoCo.
Oh, yeah?
Cool. Oh, okay. No, it suits it with the early model CoCo one there with the full black surround. That actually suits it really nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few good keyboards for the CoCo one. Keytronics made several models. They had the Professional and a couple others I can't remember. Then they had the HDL57, the Mark Data products, which one showing here. And there was another one. One had one function key. The Mark Data didn't have any extra keys, and the other, the HDL and the P, whatever the Makona was, had several of them. All had 4 function keys or 4 different keys. Some had locking keys that would click and they'd lock down like a caps lock key, and so it's quite a few third-party keyboards that are actually quite good.
I had back in the day, I had another one just like that I took apart and put in a Model 4 terminal case, and used that keyboard, and it fit in the Model 4 slot. And I didn't have I just blacked out the the keys on the side, and I put a black and white TV in it and had it for a while back in the day. And now in my collection, I found another one that looks just like what I had. So now I have it. And it's like old times.
Yeah, the CoCo one on the top there, that's my original one that I had in the 80s. That's got a CoCo 2 keyboard in it, that one.
That's cool.
That was one of the upgrades I did back then in the 80s. Was one of the first upgrades I did to it. The second one, I think the first one was 64K RAM, and the other one, the next one was the Coco 2 keyboard. So much better than the chiclet keys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which
and
is
Dave,
now
are you still
sitting-
looking for a Coco 3 keyboard, or have you kind of found one yet? Or
I'm hanging out for Ed's mechanical keyboard, obviously.
oh, okay.
So I'm sort of, I don't know how, I'm not sure what his time frame is there, but I'm hoping he's sort of going to release it fairly soon. If I find a Coco 3 keyboard in the meantime, I'll jump on it, because I do want to get a proper, because
I was going to mention, if you get one of the third-party keyboards like the HDL 57 or some of those other ones that had the 4 extra keys, you can use those, and those other 4 keys do take the place of Control, Alt, F1, and F2. You just need to get the Coco 2 versions that had the ribbon cable instead of that little connector on the keyboard. And those would work.
Yep.
I don't know if you have any of those available to you, but
I've been looking around for them, but I haven't seen anything here in Australia yet. So everything I've seen's been eBay US, and the postage has been a killer.
Yeah.
So the other option so the other option I was thinking was just it was getting the PS2 adapter and running a PS2 keyboard on it for the time being, with
That'd be
Cloud9. But yeah, I'm really I've been holding off a little bit, because I'm really set on getting one of Ed's, or a few of Ed's actually. I want to replace all the keyboards in most of my Cocos with Ed's mechanical keyboards. So I know he's got a lot on his plate, and he's very highly in demand with all his fancy upgrades, but and the Gimme X and all the rest of it. But yeah, I'm hoping he does something with the keyboard soon. So.
And Mark Marlette of Cloud9 is doing a new membrane, I guess, to use your existing Coco keyboard, but to fix the membrane because it wore out to the point where keys would stop working. You typed on
It was a hybrid one, yeah.
Yeah. But that wouldn't solve your case because you don't have a Coco 3 keyboard to fix. So.
Yeah, no.
Did I mention that Al Hartman posted on YouTube that Dennis Kitts had an article in one of his books about adapting a Model 1 keyboard for the Coco?
Yeah, I think I actually remember seeing that. And it definitely fit better than the Model 3 one, because the Model 3 one gave you the numeric keypad, which was kind of cool. And it actually did work, but you had to literally cut the sides of the case right up to the edge of the plastic just about to fit that thing. It looked like a complete hack job.
Yeah. We've got someone constructing something in the background by the sounds of it there. Maybe they're building a keyboard. Yeah, that's what I've got in my...
I forgot about that. Yeah.
My Coco 1 in the background there, that's got one of those adapters in it. That's because it's got the pins. And there's something else I've noticed too. There's actually 3 different connectors. The Coco 3 has a ribbon connector thing, but there's 2 different ribbon connectors. One's got the pins on one side and one's got the pins on the other side. And I've got a keyboard. I've got 2 keyboards here. I've got a melted keyboard, which the ribbon cable has the conductive side on one side of it, and the other keyboard I've got here, the chiclet keys, has got the conductor on the other side. So I thought I'd try and get a little smart there, and I folded over the ribbon connector to get connectors on the correct side for the Coco 3 to plug it into the Coco 3. And it connected up, but it didn't work. So there must be some other difference there as well. So I've got, there's basically 3 different keyboard connectors I've got here, and it's a bit of a pain.
That little adapter also had a resistor pack on it.
Yep.
For pull-ups.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one in my Coco 1 behind me there.
Yeah, hopefully it does come out with that soon, because I know there's a few people that are interested in getting that with a real mechanical key style. Like, it's an improved keyboard. Mark's is basically to fix an existing keyboard to get it back to pristine shape, but Ed's going like kind of a step further with making a brand new keyboard, new laser etch keycaps and everything else here, where it's actually going to be a much better quality keyboard than the Coco 3 keyboard ever was.
Well, and for people that don't have one at all, it's what they need. They don't have anything to start with.
That's exactly why I'm sort of holding off until that comes. I mean, if I can get something cheap in the meantime, like if I come across a Coco 3 keyboard for a reasonable price here in Australia, I'll get it for the meantime. But I don't want to spend a fortune on a solution for it and then be buying one of Ed's keyboards later on anyway, and spend,
Yeah, and I
Spend
will
mo-
mention OS 9 Level 2, like the ease of use Nitrous 9 thing, really does need those keys for quite a bit of stuff. You can stumble through some of it, but there's some stuff you won't be able to do without Alt and Control especially.
Yeah, right.
Just to give you a heads up on that. Some basic stuff you can do, but some of like your command line editing and stuff requires Control to do insert and delete and things like that, so you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, okay.
David, is that CoCoMax there on the top one?
That's it. Certainly is. Yeah.
What did you draw there?
It's an ad for the Coco VGA and Coco SDC.
Oh,
it's if we can go, we can go full screen. So I'm in mirror there. Coco VGA, Coco SDC, running on 64K Coco One e-board.
Okay.
Just a little
Nice.
thing I did when I first got CoCoMax running. It was my first experiment with it. So I figured I'd give, Ed and Brendan have been fantastic support for many of us here, and provided us with some fantastic solutions. So I figured I'd give them a bit of a plug on the show.
Cool.
So obviously that's running on Coco VGA, the old Dell monitor. And the Coco 3 underneath, that's running directly out of the composite output into a Sony broadcast monitor. So,
hey, I was wondering, you know how people use the machines to make cases for some of these things, like the MPIs and stuff. Is that plastic going to yellow, do you know? Is that the same kind of plastic that the Cocos are made from, or, eventually is
Looks
that
like
going
it.
to yellow?
it's a 3D printed plastic, so I don't know what that's like in the long term, but they look nice and white at the moment, but they're pretty new, so
They probably don't have the additives for the fire suppression stuff in them.
That's what makes it go yellow, is it?
Yep. The bromide.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. Right. Yeah, no, you can probably see from the Coco 3 there is fairly yellow, but it's uniformly yellow and it's clean.
And it works. That's the big thing.
Yeah, it works well. Yeah, and it's 512K RAM. So it's courtesy of Bryza. Fantastic support there. He's got some work there for me to do too. So he's got a couple of Cocos he wants to remove the chips from. So I said to we scratch each other's backs or whatever, and help each other out, and the spirit of the Coco community. So he's helped me out with the Coco 3, and I'll help him out removing some of the chips off his boards for him. So he's got some work there for me to do too. So he's got a couple of Cocos he wants to remove.
No, we're getting echo back from somebody.
Oh yeah, I was thinking, hey, didn't I just say that?
That was me looking at the video on my phone, but it turned down almost to nothing.
Oh wow. Your microphone's working well.
Yeah, it's really sensitive, and I can see it's picking up the rain from outside too. So, so I get a quarter bar of just background noise. So I've been trying to mute it when I can here. But then I'm finding the mute isn't doing a darn thing.
Well, Zoom seems to be muting it quite well, because I'm not hearing any of the rain there. It's
okay. Yeah.
So is there anything else to discuss, or?
No, we're all disgusted.
How many more of these until Coco Fest?
2, I
make me
think.
do math.
Let's see, calendar.
7, 2, yeah, and then before
20th and 27th, if you're in the U.S. That'll be the 21st and 28th if you're in Australia.
Make the trek.
Are we going to have one?
Touch the heron.
Are we going to have one, even though we're,
The fourth, we can. I mean, now that we have multiple people that can stream, we can certainly stream, and people can join Zoom, from on site.
I know Stevie and I were talking too. If we hold it, like basically the fest on Saturday shuts down just before supper, then they have the supper smorgasbord thing that we order in, and then there's a break before the jam session. And we were thinking maybe we should do kind of a summary of the show in the evening, maybe even make it an after dark, and just let it run right into the jam session.
I want to
That'd be
see
about
the jam session.
7 Eastern time.
Yeah, so we could do that and just, postpone it till the evening because we're going to be busy on the show floor and there's seminars going on and all kinds of stuff during the day. So we wouldn't be able to do too much as far as the people that are actually there. I mean, if you guys want to hold your own little private thing, or not private, but a smaller version of the show, because a lot of us will be at the show.
Will you guys be on Discord? Will you guys be on Discord? Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, I got Discord on my phone. I would assume most of us do.
Like in terms of show, like in terms of if you know when you're going to go live, if you can post in Discord, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I think Stevie was planning on streaming little bits and pieces here and there, or even just setting up a camera and letting it run during the day so that people have something to see, people walking by and maybe see some of the products depending where the camera's set up, or maybe even the seminars. You can see the seminars live. I'm not sure what his plans are.
If we did a show at the 2:00 slot, we could one of the views we could have could maybe be streaming from Coco Fest.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then you could have maybe somebody set up there at Coco Fest could actually be showing the show as we're doing it.
Or answer questions and do a walk around.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know last year we taped, we did the walk around like at the beginning, which basically everybody, all the people that have booths were introducing whatever projects they were showing off. Because a lot of the vendors there every other year are so busy tending their own table, they don't want to get a chance to go around. They missed completely some stuff that had happened, including me. So this last time we actually did the tour where everybody would explain, like all the vendors got together and just followed the camera. And we just, as soon as you got to their table, they would step behind their table and say, this is my project and this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And then you get back in the line with everybody else and go on to the next table. And that worked quite well. But if we record that, we can actually put that up. And I think Steve did that last year. I think he still has those up on YouTube.
Yeah, I believe so.
And setting one up in the room where the seminars are and just letting it run so that you get to see all the seminars as they happen too. Hopefully the audio is good enough to hear. I don't know about that, but that wouldn't be too hard. Because I know what Stevie's biggest problem when he did the first couple of years is that he was actively trying to film stuff. And then he did the same thing that the vendors have a problem with. That he missed half the show. Because he's busy watching one thing and something else was going on over here. I had no idea that even happened. So I think he wants to be more directly involved on a personal level to be able to see everything himself. But on the other hand, if we set up a couple stationary cameras at where the seminars are held, because they'll just come rapid fire after each other, or one on the show floor just kind of showing the whole thing as it expands.
Yeah. If they had I guess they've got a PA system there for the seminars, for the presenters and everything. You could perhaps take
not really.
Oh, okay.
It's in a smaller room, so you can kind of hear just by voice.
Oh, so you don't really need it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay.
The jam session won't be too hard to hear at all because, I mean, Brian brings this huge stereo for his MIDI stuff and the rest of us bring amps for our guitars and stuff. So
I think
probably be telling us to turn it down, if anything. So.
You may get a copyright strike. That's the only problem.
Well, I don't know, because this won't be the original music playing, right? It's a cover band, so I don't know if they would be striking that or not. They haven't in the past, at least for the live.
Well, I say try it anyway. I want to hear.
And it's not like we play it correctly, because like last few times there, we've just decided to try to play a song, and then we play a half a minute, and then we all forget what comes next, and it's on to the next song. So it's more like a...
So it's like the YouTube algorithm don't recognize it.
Yeah, exactly, because I'll screw up notes. I'll guarantee I'll screw up notes, because some of the times I'll get a request for a song I haven't tried in 10 years, and I barely remember any of it. So
that's like when me and my friend jam. We call ourselves ADHD.
Call yourself what? Sorry.
ADHD.
Look, squirrel.
We'll play the intro to a song and then go to something else and then play half the bridge and then.
Yeah, if you want a preview of how bad it is, just watch the one Stevie did last year of him and me, and I think it was basically just us last year. So. I guess Brian Schubring joined in for a bit. Tony Berdraza sang a song or two. I don't know if we recorded, but Rick Adams played a little bit of blues licks on an acoustic guitar, which is kind of cool because I didn't even know he played guitar.
That'd be cool.
Back in the day when that was my 80s iPod.
Nice.
Cool. So that was I bought that new in the 80s. That's a recent photo. It still works, and I've been plugging my Coco into that. So
how much was that baby?
I can't remember. I think it might have been $300 or something back in the day when I bought it.
Did it use fancy chromium tape?
Yes, yeah. Chrome and metal tape capability, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And auto reverse and programmable swapping between the decks and high-speed dubbing and all the rest of it. And 10-inch woofers and quite a decent power amp in it too. And we're talking about jam sessions and everything. That's back in the day. I used to use that as a keyboard amp with the DX7 and the SY77. And,
you didn't look like the guy in the bus in one of those Star Trek movies with a boombox. Remember that?
That was Star Trek 4, right? When it went back in time.
Yeah, when you got the nerf pinch to shut him up.
Yeah.
Talking to his mouse. Computer. That was a good one. Star Trek 4. It was even numbered, so it was good.
I need to step away, guys, here. So thank you. You guys have a good rest of your day. And
all right, thanks.
Yeah, you too, Brian.
Thank you.
See you, Brian. See you next week, Brian.
You bet.
Hey, Brian.
I'm not sure how much more of a show we have anyway. Is there anything much more to cover at this point? Or
are there any more segments?
I think we're running down. We're at 2.5 hours right now.
Yeah, I'm out of news unless something news happened.
Play the outro.
Alrighty, let's do the sponsors here.
CoCoTALK would like to thank some of our community members and sponsors. Check out the Coco VGA project at cocovga.com. Boyson Technologies at boysontech.com. Jim Brain and Retro Innovations can be found at go4retro.com. Cloud9 Technologies at cloud9tech.com. CoCoTALK is on the Coco TV channel on Roku thanks to Roger Taylor. For a very cool project to turn an SD card into a ROM pack, check out sdpak.com. Get your own switcheroo and wallaby cable at cocoman.biz. Check out some coffee mugs, t-shirts, and swag at our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. For all things color computer, visit imacoconut.com. That's imacoconut.com. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. Let's not forget the Coco Crew at cococrew.org, Extructus Productions at extructus.com, and certainly, let's not forget the Cylon himself, Ed Snyder, the Zipster at the Zipster Zone, TheZippster Zone.com. This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click on the Patreon link on our site at cocotalk.live. CoCoTALK would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Karen Anscombe, Simon Jonason, and many, many more. Special thanks to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and to Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, and Rob Inman for all of their bonus content and contributions, as well as Roger Taylor for getting us on the Coco TV channel on Roku. Please help support the Coco community by visiting some of its contributors. The Coco Crew podcast at cococrew.org. Glenside Color Computer Club, host of Coco Fest at glensidecc.com. Jim Brain and Retro Innovations at go4retro.com. Tandy Assembly at tandyassembly.com. Boyson Technologies at boysontech.com. Get your own switcheroo and wallaby cable at cocoman.biz. Cloud9 Technologies at cloud9tech.com. CoCoTALK is hosted by Steve Strobridge. Co-hosts, technical directors, segment hosts, and producers Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Grant Leedy, Mark Overholzer, Ron Delvaux, and Jason Reichert. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.
Well, all right. Any parting thoughts?
Nick, are you What are you doing with your SY99? You wouldn't be entertaining the possibility of selling it by any chance, would you?
Definitely not.
Oh, I can't be too greedy, I guess. Mine will be here tomorrow.
I've had. I mean, I don't know how to play the things, but my kids they're into that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
keep
yeah.
the keyboard for when they come over.
Yeah, no, perfectly understandable. They're very desirable keyboards.
Yeah, yeah. You've got an SY77, haven't you?
Yeah, and I've got a 99 on the way, and that'll be here tomorrow. So
it's basically the same thing, just a bigger, longer keyboard.
yeah, it's some different samples, and also a much better effects section as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
The 99 does, yeah.
Yeah, and the 99 has the ability to import samples as well, user samples.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's a few additions in the 99 over the 77, but the 77 is still a fantastic board.
It's a heavy thing.
Yeah, yep, 20 kilos. Built like a tank.
All right.
End of the show.
Ready to push the button.
I think they were
Casio.
I think they were speaking Australian.
Is this the end? Is this the end?
They didn't say Foster's.
Ron Delvaux, what's that in the background you got there?
This is my Radio Shack one. I picked up for $6.
Does it do MIDI?
Yes. Look.
Nice.
There you go.
Where'd you get that?
Radio or at Goodwill.
Nice.
For like $6.
I'm beginning to think Ron has a Radio Shack in his garage.
Yeah.
What's the branding on that one? Did they brand it realistic, or
It's
is it
Radio Shack
or Casio?
It's probably a Casio.
42
rebadge Casio. Yeah.
It takes 6 C batteries or this.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Yep. It's fun. I don't know how to play it.
Well, just get the MIDI cable for it there, Ron. You can run Ultimuse and play all the MIDI songs that Mike Knutson and the guys did back in the 80s and 90s.
I'll have to try.
Brian Schubering could definitely help you with that. He's runs a lot of that stuff too.
Cool.
Okay. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.